Welcome back to Shake the Mic, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in. This evening, I'm joined by a great character with a cracker of a story, all the way from sunny Wales, Osh Williams. Osh, thanks very much for coming on, man. How the fucking hell are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me. Sunny Wales, not sure about that. It was all right a couple of days ago, but it's a bit ropey there today, do you know what I mean?
I'm not saying this just for small talk at all, but the weather today has been absolutely fucking crazy, hasn't it?
That's proper small talk. I come from Rill today, actually, so it was sunny Rill, but it always is sunny there. But
no,
yeah.
Thank you very much for travelling down,
Thank you for having me, Jack. Honestly, I appreciate it, mate.
Come out your way. Let's start with your background.
Yeah.
Something a little bit different. I've read between the lines, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Wales and Somalia, Welsh and Somalia heritage, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So my mum's Somalian and my dad's a proud Welshman, yeah. So I suppose overall I'm a proud Welshman, but like I say, I lived in Manchester for a decade, so I've picked up a bit of the lingo there, so you probably
can tell.
Yeah, that's it.
Some money.
So, yeah, that's it. So I'll get to that a bit later on. But I was brought up in a little village called Llanfairpwll with my ma. My ma brought me and my sister up. My dad was still very much a part of our lives, but they just split up when I was a bit younger, you see. But yeah, it was good. It was mad because obviously we lived in this little village, which to this day I still visit, and to this day is still a lovely place. But obviously I was the only one with my complexion there, so it was different.
Was that tough, Osh?
Not so much in that environment, no. And from primary school, and going into high school, it was okay. It's as you get a little bit older that things become tough, and you notice that you're different.
When you're a child, like a small child, your mind thinks in a different way. You don't really look at shit like that. It's only as you start getting older, you start becoming aware of all this shit like that is around us, and a lot of it, it's pointless shit, innit? But because as a kid, you see the world through completely different eyes.
Absolutely.
I've got 3 boys. And like sometimes in the morning, I'm like, fuck, hurry up, get dressed or whatever, because I'm trying to get to work and get them sorted and shit like that. But they're just living in their own world, and it's a brilliant little world to live in, their own bubble. And sometimes I wish I could just get inside that bubble with them and not be
more stress.
In
that's
the
it.
real world.
Well, it's funny because I heard someone I used to train with a kid. He was a black kid, and he said, I didn't realise I was black until I went to high school. Do you know what I mean? Like he said, like he only realised he was different, or in his perception was different. And you go through that transition of questioning who you are and questioning your identity a little bit. It's not until you get older, like even now, I think it took me a long time to be happy with who I am and be proud of my heritage. Like now, like if someone asked me where I was from, I'd get a bit edgy and I didn't want to talk about it. Like we discussed briefly earlier, in terms of where I was from in North Wales, that there wasn't many kids in my school that were different, So when I made that transition to Manchester, which is a very multicultural place, it was refreshing for me. It was a breath of fresh air. Do you know what I mean?
It's good to be different as well,
Absolutely, definitely. I think we need to be. Like I say, I'm only now at the age of 31. I'm only now comfortable in my own skin. And that's only until recently. Yeah, it took me a long, long time to be comfortable with who I am. It took a long time.
A lot of people on the outside don't see shit like that. If maybe, like, obviously, I'm white, so it's like, for me, that's not something that's actually went through my mind. But for yourself, it's like subconsciously, is that there? The thought
process is there, and I'm fortunate enough to have a very small circle now in my life where I'm involved with good people, and it's taken me a long time to get this circle established with who's in my life now. If you're in my life right now, if you're there right now, then there must be something about you. You must be a good kid. You must be someone that you're bringing something positive to my life, because if you're not, and you're toxic or you've got bad energy, you're fucking gone. Like, you're not there. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I've got such a small circle, despite the fact that I've always been involved in jobs where I've been, an extrovert in terms of I've worked in sales, I've worked with people. Obviously, I do my PTs now. My job involves communicating with people and speaking to people. I'm actually a massive introvert. Yeah. And I think that's where we'll touch on it with selling tickets in terms of boxing. I always struggled because I never was one for going out. I never was one for hanging about with people. I was just so fixated on boxing and so fixated on my own personal life that the rest of it, and to be honest with you, I don't regret that, because I don't want bullshit people in my life. All I want is proper, genuine people. So like I say, if you're in my life right now, you're good. Do you know what I mean? And if I had this conversation with a friend, a very close friend of mine who I work closely with in the gym, Ryan Mack at Max Gym, he's a good kid, you know, we're good friends. And I said to him, if someone's in my life and they're no good, they are gone. That's it. And it's as simple as that. And I can, as much as I'm a good person, I'm a nice person, I can cut people off like that. Do you know what I mean? You're gone. That's it.
That is something like that's massive, and I think a lot of people out there listening can either relate to, or if you can't relate to it, you need to relate to it, because that is one massive thing.
Definitely.
Where you surround yourself with, we all know you're a product of the environment.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're surrounded by good people, only good shit's gonna happen.
That's it. And it's only something that as I'm getting older, I'm learning and I'm researching, and I listen to my body a lot now. Like if I'm around someone and like they say that you know, that saying, listen to your gut, it's so true. It's absolutely so true. Your gut is never wrong, and your gut tells you something, and sometimes your brain tries to talk you out of it. But I believe your gut is your sixth sense. It's picking something up that your brain can't quite. Your brain hasn't picked it up, but the gut's picked it up. So if I even get a bad feeling off you, you know, I'm standing off you. You know, I don't want you to be involved in my life.
Do you ever have that like argument between your brain and your gut where, like, I don't know, there might be a certain situation, and your gut instinct's telling you, don't do that, or don't get involved with that, whatever it fucking may be, you know, but then your brain's saying, yeah, but you might be able to fucking do this, you know. I do. I have that sometimes. But now, when I was younger, I was slightly more immature. I was a bit more impulsive. Well, I was a lot more immature. I was a bit more impulsive, and like I'd just jump in, and even though that gut instinct was there, the voice in my head would be saying, fucking ignore that. Just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. But now, as you say, if my gut tells me something, no matter how much I want to do it mentally, my brain's telling me, I say no, listen to that feeling and that vibe.
I get it completely, and just for the record, I am still a big kid, you know what I mean? I'm getting better, but I'm still a big kid.
I think we all are.
That's it. But I wouldn't change. And what you're saying there in terms of, especially when it comes to decision making, and I said this, every bad decision I've ever made in my life, and most people say the same, has been based on emotion. So whenever you've been angry, you've been sad, even when you've been happy and elated, you made certain decisions, and then actually, if you would have slept on it, because that's true, if you'd have slept on it and you'd have taken a step back on, okay, let me look at this, even though your gut's telling you this is wrong and this isn't right, more than once I've taught myself out of it, but it has more often than not been emotion that's made me make those decisions, and I've made a lot of bad decisions, but that's why I'm here, and this is why this is probably going to be an interesting conversation. Do you know what I mean? Because I have been there. Do
you know what? You just struck a chord with me there, because it's not something I've ever really thought about that. My emotions are affecting my decisions, but you are 100% right. Like, have you ever heard the saying, like, don't go shopping when you're hungry?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've heard that saying. Yeah,
have you never been in the shops when you're hungry? You go into Tesco, you walk around and you're like, fuck yeah, I'll have one of them. I'll have some of them and that. Ramming this trolley. Yeah.
That's me, mate. Go pound shop looking for nothing, and I've spent 50 quid. You know what I mean?
Go home and you eat, and you're like, fuck, I don't even know why I bought all that shit.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely.
So, back to your heritage.
Yeah.
Was it your mum, Somalian?
Yeah, so my granddad who I met, my dad's dad was Somali, and he was from Mogadishu. He was actually quite very well thought of in that area. I think he was actually involved in politics.
Was he?
So yeah, he was there for quite some time. He come to Wales on a trip. He met me nana or me nine on my mum's side, and that's how I came about. That's my
shit like that blows me mind. You know
it's
what?
mental, mate. It's
mental.
Know
how that's meant to be. Like, how did that come to be? You know, he's travelled basically all that way.
That's it. It is. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction and manifesting and all that sort of thing. And I am.
Are you deep that way?
Yeah, I am. You know, I am. I get sick of saying it because so many people are into it now, and so many people.
It's become fashionable.
It has become fashionable.
Some people do it because, well, not say do it because it's not necessarily you sort of doing something, but do you think people actually believe in what they're saying, or do you think people just sort of like are following the crowd?
Nah, I think people jump on the bandwagon and they do. But this manifesting, the secret, all this sort of stuff, I think I've done it subconsciously most of my life.
100%.
So all I ever wanted to be was a pro boxer. When I was in school, all I wanted to be was a professional boxer. I'll never forget, I was a young kid and I'd be in school and they'd say, what are you going to do when you're older? Because I was a naughty kid, do you know what I mean? I was a naughty kid in school. And they'd say to me, what do you want to be? And I would be a cocky shit and I would say, I'm going to be a boxer. And I laugh now and I think, fucking hell, what a cocky wanker, do you know what I mean? But I think to myself,
At the time.
But then I'd done everything I ever wanted to do but that was me manifesting it. I wasn't saying it to be cheeky. I was saying it because I was training before school. I was training after school. I was going to boxing.
You knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I knew exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to do whatever they were trying to teach me.
It's when you've got a roadmap in it. If you've got something and like right, I want to do that, and nothing's gonna fucking stop you. You don't know how you're gonna do it. You just know I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna achieve it. And if that's what you think about, if that's what you put in your fucking head, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and all day, it's got to happen, lad. It's inevitable.
Got to happen, and you can't do. I hate the saying, right? You know when parents say, I've not got a kid, so maybe this is me being a bit artless, but I hate the saying when people say, I tell my kid they can do anything they want to do. Well, that's bullshit, okay? They can't do whatever they want to do. They can do whatever they've got a passion for. So if they've got a passion for something, they can do it. I never would have been an electrician because I wasn't that way inclined and I was never interested. So what was the point saying to me, why don't you, Dad, you say it, why don't you go college, be a sparky, well, good money. Like, Dad, I'm not interested. Do you know what I mean? That was the way. And with me, I think people got frustrated with me in school because I was quite a switched on kid. And that resonated in the way I come about myself rather than my focus. And I think they'd look at me and go, right, okay, he can do something, but I just wasn't interested. And I remember, I'm not just a college dropout. I didn't drop out of uni once. I dropped out of uni twice. I dropped out of two unis. I dropped out of Bangor University. I dropped out of Salford University because all I ever wanted to be was a boxer. And I'll never forget the first time I dropped out of uni, my dad said to me, you know what, Osh, for an intelligent kid, you make some bad decisions. And do you know what? That always stuck with me a little bit, right? And I don't, you know, you always speak to,
today,
that's it, man. That's there. And you probably speak to my dad and say, oh, how come you said that? And he'll probably say, oh, because I knew it'd get his back up, because I'm a bit like that, yeah? But for me, it did get my back up, and it probably made me work harder than I ever thought possible. I worked so hard, and what he said, and I love my dad, don't get me wrong, but what he said always stuck with me, and I always go, I'm going to do this because everyone thinks I'm daft, and everyone thinks, tough love. And you know what, as hurtful as that was at the time, and as much it bothered me at the time, to this day, it was probably the best thing he could have said to me. I think if he'd have given me a pat on the back and gone, yeah, son, nice one, yeah, drop out of that uni and you're going to crack it with the boxing, I'd have gone, yeah, maybe. But do you know what I mean? Because he said that, it made me work so hard. It made me so driven. And I'd probably thank him now. I would probably thank him and say, you know what, that was the best thing you could have ever said to me. Because I'd done what I wanted to do, Dad. It's a nice one.
Yeah, it's perspective, innit?
Absolutely, it is perspective, yeah, because I looked at it with such a negative perspective for so long. And now I think as I'm getting older and a bit wiser, I look back at it and go, actually, I get that. And I get why he would have wanted. For him, you imagine now, like you say, you've got 2-3 boys. They come up to you and say, yeah, Dad, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop out of university when I'm studying law and I'm going to be a fighter. You'd go, you're mad.
Yeah.
You're mad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Get back upstairs and stop saying stuff, things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's like, I had, I don't know whether you watched it, but I had Tom Farrell on last, and, you know, he said the same thing, like, his parents, well, his mum was saying, you know, you're not going to make, you go and get a proper job and all that. And a lot of people do look at it like that because they don't understand.
That's it.
But if you know where you're going with it and you're driven and you've got a dream, you're going to make it happen, you're going to achieve it.
That's it. And Fazza, you know, touching on Fazza, because he probably doesn't even know this. So I was going through a bit of a tough time in my life. I'd stopped boxing, I'd piled on the weight, I was drinking, I was doing bad things, I was doing naughty things on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't living the right life. And I remember being sat in a jacuzzi, about 15 stone, and I was watching him on a TV, and he was fighting Kofi Yates at Goodison Park on the Tony Bellew undercard, and it looked sick, you know. I thought, and I knew Fazza a bit from the amateurs because we'd done the amateurs the same sort of era, and you know, he was a really good kid, same weight. And I looked, well, I should have been the same weight. And I was looking, I was looking at him, I was thinking, wow, you know. And I used to think I could do what Fazza's doing. I could do what he's doing, and that really inspired me. And I think not long after that, I really turned a corner in my life, in my personal life, my professional life, and it's little things like that. And people like Fazza and people like myself, what I want to do now is when I fight or when I used to fight, and even when I'm having a conversation, hopefully people might watch this and go, you know what? He's an alright kid there, and he's inspired me to put to the box or to turn my life round or to do something, and that's all I want to do. If I turn one kid's life round, then job done, innit?
That's the whole point as well, and why I want to do the podcast, because shit like that with you sharing that, if any young up and coming lads or girls out there are watching, and you could not even necessarily young, any age, any person that motivates them or inspires them. Yeah. They've got something from it, and they took something from it.
Definitely, and like I say, if one kid does that, it's job done. I always wanted to, one little dream of mine, I always wanted to go back to my school. I hope one day I do get an opportunity, because I was in a couple of naughty classes and that, and I'd love to go and just have a conversation and just say, look, and it's like I said to you earlier, it's about having something you're passionate for. I don't care if it's boxing, I don't care if you want to be a sparky, I don't care if you want to be a bin man, I don't care what you fucking want to be. But if you've got a passion for it and you want to do it, then just go out there and do it. But you have to have that drive and you have to have that determination. Otherwise, if you've got no passion, there's no point. Yes. Do you know what I mean? What is that? What is the point of being here and doing things if you've got no passion for it?
What school was it, Osh, that you went to, where you'd like to go back and do the tour?
I went to a little Welsh school called the Skull of Craving, so I went there. My Welsh ain't good no more, but I go there and have a conversation, I could do that.
Yeah, a Skull of Craving, let's make it happen.
Get me on there, chinwag.
No, you know what though, the way you were saying there about making things happen, if that is what you want to do, Osh, fucking make it happen.
Definitely.
You can make it happen and you give back a little bit,
Well, that's it, and I think I touched on it briefly about parents and the relationship I had with my parents, which was a great relationship. They was good to me. But sometimes your parents and your friends and your family, sometimes are the worst people for advice, because they are the worst people for advice. Even though they're saying things in your best interest, sometimes when you've got a dream, when you've got a passion for something, only you can see it, yeah? So only I could have seen what I wanted to do. And now people might go, do you know what? He's done all right, him. But they don't see the backstory. They don't see what happened before it. They don't see what led up to it. And, do you know what I mean? So sometimes, as much as people... They have got the best advice in their minds, it might not be the best advice for you. What if I'd have listened and gone, you know what, I'm going to stick at uni and do this and do that? I'd have probably been miserable, unhappy, maybe earning more money. I'm not going to lie, that's not hard, but I would have been in a position where I would have been unhappy, and all I want to be now is at peace and happy in myself, man. Do you know what I mean?
I think like that's the main thing. A lot of people miss that. We're all searching for the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
No matter what path we're on,
That's it, man.
Whether, as you said, whether you're a bin man, whether you're a blind maker, whether you're fucking a gardener, it doesn't matter what you're doing, or whether you're a fucking Hollywood star.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all looking for the same thing.
Definitely.
And that's happiness and inner peace, innit, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the main thing.
Definitely.
A lot of us miss that. We've already got it, but... It's already there, but it's noticing it and realising it and making it happy.
We're chasing what society expects of us, I think. I think we chase what people are expecting of us, like, you should do this and you should do that, and this is what will earn you good money. And I think chasing money is never a good tactic, personally. I get that people want to kick on with their lives. I get that people want nice things for their kids or for their partner, whatever, or for themselves. But what I'm saying is, I think when you find happiness and you find something that you've got passion for, you will excel in doing that. And whatever you do, if you have a passion for it and you're happy, it resonates. So you go to work, you work an 8-9 hour day. It's a long time to be unhappy for. So I've had jobs in the past, I've worked factory jobs, I've worked all sorts of jobs. I finished work, 12-hour shifts, and all I've done is dread the next day. Because I've hated my life, I've hated my job.
No life, is it?
Do you know what I mean? So what is the point?
I was watching this thing on Gary V. And he was saying, I don't know whether you know Gary V.
No.
Gary V's businessman, he's a good guy to get onto, follow him, and he's motivational as well. But he was saying, like, you need to make Monday your Friday.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean?
I get that,
when you get up on fucking Monday, it should feel like Friday, and if it doesn't, there's something wrong.
That's
You're doing something wrong. Do you know what I
it.
mean? And that's something that's resonated with me, where I've thought to myself, if you're not looking forward to Monday, you're not living life in the right way, and it's down to you to change it, innit?
That's mad, isn't it? You see the quotes all the time. You see people say it, TGI Friday. It's wrong. We shouldn't spend 5 days of the week, just looking forward to the weekend and dreading 5 days of our life, man.
Madness, innit?
I personally wouldn't do it. I've never chose to do it, and it's got me in bother because it has got me in bother because I've turned down jobs, I've walked away from jobs. Like, if I'm not happy, like, and I say this all the time, and people don't understand when I say it, like, whether it's a job, whether it's your bird, whether it's whatever it may be, your family, your friends, whatever it is, if it don't feel right, fuck it off. Like, literally, just get rid of it. Do not do it. Like, do you know what I mean? And I've done it. And people say it's not as easy as that. Yes, it fucking is. Yes, it fucking is. Do you know what I mean? All these things, it is easy. People aren't good in your life, and fuck them off. It's done. Like, whether you don't like your job, get a new job. I'm not saying hand your notice in and don't have a penny to pay your mortgage. I'm saying do something else. Like, write down what you got a passion for. Like, I never used to write nothing down. I write down everything now. Like, when I came back from Manchester, I remember I left a toxic relationship. I left my house, I left my car, I left my job. I had fuck all, absolutely fuck all. I lived in my nan's bedroom. Do you know what I mean? I lived in my nan's spare bedroom. Me nan, I'm so close to my nan because the amount of times in my life that I've fucked up and I've pissed people off and I've fallen out with people, and my nan has always took me in no matter what. Yeah, man, she's always took me in. And when I was there, I wrote down like what I wanted to do. I had a plan. And this was 5 years ago now, and it feels like yesterday. And I can remember being sat there writing stuff down of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to change. And like I say, I didn't have a penny to my name. I had nothing. And from then to now, and I'm not sitting here like trying to brag and say, oh, I've done this, I've done that. I'm saying if there's someone watching this now and their life's gone to shit, or they feel like they crashed a bit in life, or that they're in a shit place, you can come back from anything. You can come back from absolutely anything and turn your life around. And I'm happier now than I've ever been. Do you know what I mean? I'm happier now than I've ever been. And surely to God, that's what it's all about.
Definitely. That is what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therefore.
It is.
Therefore.
That's where it's at. And as you said, it's not all about money or shit. It's about happiness and the stuff that you set out to achieve. When you said that you were sitting there and you were writing all the shit down, what you wanted to set out and achieve, was any of it financial based, or was all of it purely goal based?
I would say goal based. Although I'm a driven person, I in terms of ambition, you won't find many people that are more ambitious. In terms of, if I set my mind to something, I'm all or nothing. I'm on it. But what I'm saying is, in terms of my ambition, I would say the goals I had, I believe money would come with them. Maybe. Yeah. So my goal was to become a professional boxer. I thought I was going to retire from boxing and be a millionaire. So do you know what I mean? So I never saved money. I never looked after myself financially, really, because I always thought it's all right because one day Eddie Earn's going to give me a big fat check and I'm going to buy the mansion in the hills and live happily ever after. It don't quite work like that. Unfortunately, one thing about me is I am a dreamer. I would never change that about myself. It must frustrate some people. I am a dreamer and I do look at things, but dreaming is, like I say, I've achieved my dream. I've become a professional boxer. I dreamt it. I'm here. I manifested it and I'm here. I've done it. But no, going back to the question, I would say it wasn't financially based. No. And it takes us back to what we were saying about school earlier and what we learn in school and what we go. No one teaches you how to be happy, or no one teaches you how to like talk about things and talk about your feelings. Like, no one teaches you, like, this is what you need to... Shouldn't be, right, you need this grade to do this, to do that. It should be what makes you happy. Like, we're completely inept and we're not targeting... When we speak to people, when we talk to kids, we're not in the right ballpark. We're not, because so many of these kids aren't maybe necessarily academically clever, but, like, streetwise, they're so switched on. And there's other things they could be doing. So much other things that they could be doing. And I think that's something that... Unfortunately, most teachers have come from a background of you go to school, you go to uni, you get a master's, you do this, you teach, and that's how you do. So they're used to that, and that's good on them, do you know what I mean? But from my perspective, I was failed.
Reality should be put in the curriculum.
Definitely. I was failed by the education system, I would say, like so many millions of other kids are. Absolutely.
Going back to the start and feeding off a little bit.
Yeah. I do that.
No, so do I. Meet your mate.
Yeah.
So going back to the start, young boy in Wales, obviously. What was it like growing up in Wales, school-wise, stuff like that? How did you become? When was the stage that you realised you want to become a fighter?
Yeah, so I first went into a couple of boxing gyms when I was roughly 6-7 years old. I was a kid. And then at that point, it was never really taking it seriously. I played a lot of football. I was a decent footballer as well.
Prior to going in the gym, before
Yeah.
you'd even set foot in the fucking door, did you want to go, or like,
No.
did your dad take you, or how did that happen?
No. And my dad's always been a massive sports fan, yeah. Massive.
Yeah.
You go into my gaff, you know, you go into my dad always had the sports on. If you're reading the sport in the newspaper, the sport would be on, like, no matter what. And my dad, and I'm a bit the same now, like, I don't care what sport it is. It could be darts, horse racing, whatever, snooker, bowls, it's on. Anything that's competitive, I'm watching it on TV, nothing else. And I think he just felt it was good for me to get involved in a sport. Like I said, I did football, I did boxing, and I did a bit of karate and all that sort of stuff like kids do. But I never really, I wouldn't say at that point I had a passion for it. It was just doing it because
You were doing it.
my dad thought it was a good idea. Do you know what I mean?
School life?
Yeah.
And home life, what was that like as a young boy?
It was tough in some aspects. Like I say, my dad was very much involved in our lives, but my mum brought us up, and it was hard. And I've got so much respect for my mum looking back, because, like I say, I dropped out of uni twice. Do you know what I mean? Not proud of it, but it's something that I'd done because I felt I needed pastures new. Yeah, but in respect to my mum, she went back. She split up with my dad, and she went back to uni. She went back to uni, and she studied while she was, you know, bringing up 2 kids, me and my sister. And she excelled, and she did uni, and she smashed it. And now she, you know, she works for NHS. She's got a good job, and we didn't have much there. Like I say, my dad helped, but it felt tough. It felt like, and I, from a very young age, I wanted to be the man of the house. I wanted to look after my mum and my sister. That's all I wanted to do.
Do you think that's where the fighter came from?
A little bit.
Like, your dad not being, he was there, but he didn't live with you. So you're living in this house, and like, you've got your mum and your sister there. You know, you want to be the man of the house. You feel you've got to look after them, and you feel like you want to prove yourself, type of thing.
That,
you know,
that proving yourself. I still am really protective of my mum and my sister, and my dad. He was always a difficult man to please, and even now, like, all I wanted to do was please my dad. You know, and that's what you do with your parents. It's usually, my mum in a lot of ways was really, really supportive, as was my dad, but my dad was a bit more standoffish with it, yeah. So I always wanted to prove something to my dad, like, oh, Dad, I've done this, Dad, I'm turning pro, Dad, I'm doing this, and it was always been that little, it's only now that I do things for myself rather than for other people or what other people think, like, and it was when I started realising I was doing things for myself, and I genuinely, you know how people say, I don't care what anyone thinks. 9 times out of 10, they're chatting shit. They do.
Yeah,
they do.
100%.
They say that, and usually people that say that do give a shit. Like, I genuinely could not give 2 shits. I do not care what anyone thinks. And when I realised that, and it was only recently, I'd say less than a year ago, my life changed for the better.
Was it empowering when you felt
really
like that?
Really empowering. And I think, I heard another saying, and it really resonated with me as well, and it brought me back a bit to that. You know, it said you have 2 lives, and your second one starts when you realise, you've only got the one. You've only got the one life. Do you know what I mean? So you have these 2 lives, and you've got your first life, but in the first life you realise you've only got the one, and that's when your second life starts. Do you know what I mean?
That's when real life fucking starts.
That's a real life kicks in. You go, oh shit, I get genuine. Because when people say you only live once, I hate it because we got all these good sayings, but they become cliche, don't they? Everyone says these sayings, but they don't really think about it.
Doesn't resonate.
It doesn't resonate at all. They say you only live once, and I'm like, fucking hell, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So why aren't I here doing something that I've got a passion for?
Do what you love.
And I've trailed off a little bit, haven't I? But in terms of what I was saying with my dad, it was very much trying to prove myself and probably prove my worth as a man. Yeah, looking after my mum, looking after my sister, and to see my mum now, she's with someone else now who's a lovely fella. She's got a nice big house in the sticks, and she smashed it, mate. And I look and I think, like, again, she come from nothing. She come from absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, good on her.
Good on her.
That's
really
it.
Really good on
That's
her.
it, man.
So going through, so you're living at home with your mum and your sister.
Yeah.
School life.
Yeah, school was okay. Primary school was good, like we said earlier. I think I was more aware of who I was or who I thought I was when I went to high school. And high school's always tougher, isn't it? It's a transition, and for any young man or young woman, it's a huge transition. And It certainly was that. At the time, I was playing football, I would say, more than anything. But funnily enough, what always frustrated, and this is why I think I'm a bit of an introvert, what frustrated me about the football was I hated losing, right, and relying on other people. Like, what I like about boxing, the sports, when you're solo, you only can blame yourself. You can only rely on yourself, and other people can't fuck it up for you. And when your back is against the wall and the chips are down, that is when you can go, right, okay, that was my fault. This is how I can fix that. Or, yeah, I smashed that. That was down to me, that. And I think that's why the football was always going to be something that I didn't stick at long term. I was 12, 13 years old when I started taking the boxing really seriously. I got in a fight in school, and I got my ass handed to me, to be honest with you, mate. Proper. And funny enough, I saw the kid who gave me a hiding the other day, and he was outside Aldi back home, and I was chatting to him, and they got on like a house on fire. It's just weird how life works, do you know what I mean?
Crazy.
And anyway, yeah, so
I love your honesty.
That's honesty, mate. I handed to me, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm supposed to be a boxer. I'm getting bad here. So I started taking it really seriously. I went home that day, and my dad said, I've got a documentary for you to watch. And I was like, oh, whatever, yeah, what is it? And it was called When We Were Kings, and it was all about Muhammad Ali and the Rumble in the Jungle. And I watched that, and like, as much as I'd heard about Muhammad Ali and heard about these fighters, like, I'd not really taken much of an interest. And I watched this documentary, I was like, this is sick. And then that day, I used to skip every day. I started running. I had a bit of puppy fat then, do you know what I mean? And I just started training, eating right, eating correct, researching what's the best things to eat to be a boxer, what was the best thing. And I really, from that day onward, I would say I dedicated myself to it.
Was that the moment?
Yeah, that was it, done. That was the light switch moment, yeah, when I've gone, okay, this is it. This is what I genuinely want to do, and I can do this. And my life just was on the up from then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali, he's changed so many lives around the world, man.
Yeah, that's it. Crazy.
Crazy.
Don't know if you've seen a documentary, man, but it's good.
It is.
Because it touched on everything, not just the fight, but the politics, the religion, everything behind it, and the man himself. Do you know what I mean? It was mega.
Yeah, he's got so many people around the world.
Yeah.
Who would have changed their lives just because of him.
Yeah,
it fucking blows me mind. It's amazing.
Therefore.
So, your amateur boxing career.
Yeah.
Was that when the flame was lit? How did that happen? Where did you go first, and how did you get into boxing on a serious level where you knew, right, you're going to be a fighter, and what gym did you go to, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, so I went to a couple of gyms in North Wales. Didn't really stick it anywhere. I didn't get comfortable anywhere until I went to I went to a gym in Rill. It was Palace ABC at the time. It changed its name to Sparta while I was there, but it was Palace ABC, and they'd had a lot of good fighters there over the years. It was probably on the slide a little bit when I went there.
Did it have Heritage Palace when you went there?
Yeah, they had a couple of kids. They had a kid called Mike Allen, who was a good kid, and he'd gone to the Commonwealth Games. They had another kid who I believe went to the Commonwealth Games. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was a good gym. It was recognised in the area as being a good, tough gym, old school gym. It was ran at the time by a guy called Jack Baker, who, do you know what, was an amazing character. He was an old fella. He was about 85 at the time, and he was a great person who had so much belief in me, and I think that's why I stuck it out there, because it was the first time I met someone who was probably the first real male role model I'd had, who said, look, you've got something, so I can see something in you. And that was the first time that had really happened, I would say.
Did that make your heart beat a little bit more?
A little bit, yeah.
Because you've had a vision, and you're being motivated. Now someone else can see your vision.
Yeah,
and you can see your talent, and are like, look, kid, you can do something with this.
Well, funnily enough, I'd gone to all these gyms, and when you're starting out, all you do, well, not even when you start out, it never stops. You get beat up. So yeah, it happens. And I was going for these gyms, and then I went to spar, and I sparred this kid in that gym who'd been there a while, and he beat me up. But obviously, I'm going back, 2 decades. But it was a decent spar from what I can recall, even though he handed me my ass. Do you know what I mean? But he said, nah, you've got something, you're okay. I think I showed a bit of heart and a bit of, do you know what I mean? I've always had a bit of that.
Bit of grit.
Yeah, a bit of grit. And I had, all in all, I think I had 10 fights at Palace, and I only lost 2, which is decent.
Good record.
Yeah. It was an interesting time because, and we touched on this earlier before the interview, because it was such a small area in North Wales and the amateur circuit was so small. I think I was there about 2 years and only had like 10 fights. It was so difficult. Like, I'd have fought every weekend.
Was it hard being in Wales and being a young aspiring fighter?
Really difficult, incredibly difficult. It was so, because the talent pool was so small. There were so little people who were actually doing it. It was so difficult to get matched up. And you'd have, you'd have the North Wales area. And in the North Wales boxing area, you might have, 12 gyms. Okay? So you're all trying to get on the same shows. You've all got the competition. And then that coach might not get on with that coach. So you're not going to get on that gym. You don't want to go to that gym because they robbed your last fighter, so you're not going there again. And then the pool just goes smaller and smaller. But I think I realised quite early on, actually, like I said, I had a good record, but I realised I felt I was a big fish in a small pond, yeah?
Yeah.
And then I would see all these kids and these other kids on telly, because at the time they used to show the English ABAs on TV, on terrestrial TV, and I'd look at them like, wow, these kids are mega. He's from Manchester, he's from Liverpool, he's from that. And I used to think, all right, I'm the best in this area, but I laugh about the thing. It's like being the tallest dwarf, mate. Do you know what I mean? No one cares. No one cares. And I just thought, like, I don't want to be the best fighter in this area. I'd rather go to Manchester, Liverpool, and be the shittest fighter. And because I know I'd still be better than I am now.
Was the question there that you didn't know? Was that question in the back of your mind? Thinking, obviously, you want to challenge yourself, and you want to see how good are you compared to these other fighters.
Definitely.
So you wanted to get out there a little bit, because you don't know whether you how far your talent's going to take you. Like, if you're top of the three there, you may be top of the three everywhere else, but then again, you mightn't. And it's only if you go out there and dip your toe in the pond, you're going to know.
I knew if I wanted to be professional, I had to leave.
Yeah,
times have changed there a little bit now. It's better, which I'm glad to say it is better. And if I was boxing in now, things might have been different. Having said that, I believe I still would have done what I did. Because like I say, it's a big world out there, and there's a lot of gyms just like an hour and a half down the road. And I think for me, I always would have wondered, what if?
To box, did you have to travel?
Yeah, we travelled to go to Conisky. I remember my first fight in, was it Conisky or someone like that, or shot on or someone like that. And I had my first amateur fight, and I got hammered. And then what had happened was, I'm not just saying it because I hate these kids that say, oh, I got robbed and this and that. I fought a kid on their own show, and this kid had like 20 kickboxing fights and then loads of MMA fights. And then he boxed me. Yeah, man, he boxed me the amateurs, and then he still didn't stop me. Do you know what I mean? But then, believe it or not, I lost that on a split in his hometown. Yeah. It was close.
You give a good account of yourself.
And that's it. And then I really struggled to get matched up, because people looked at me and gone, hang on a minute, even though we lost, that kid must be quite good, because he is stopping people. He was beating established kids up, yeah? And they've gone, hang on a minute, he's just got in there. And so I couldn't get matched up with anyone.
That's what I was kind of
to. So then I was fighting people who were more experienced. All right, I was turning them over, but I couldn't get people around my experience because no one wanted it. Do you know what I mean? No one fancied it at that time. So even in a losing performance, I probably shot myself in the foot a little bit. Do you know what I mean? If I got knocked out, they probably would have all fancied it, queuing at the door to fight me. But that's it, innit?
Yeah, that's life, mate. And as you say, that's out of your control. You can only turn up and do the business. And at the end of the day, that's what it is like, because it is a small pool of fighters. Once your name's out there, people know of you.
That's it.
Some people will want to avoid it, so you've got to go further afield.
Well, that's it.
How did that come to be? What did you do? What was the plan? How did you get out of Wales? And
so what had happened was I had these couple of fights, and then I was really struggling to get matched, and I was really struggling to get matched opponents and stuff. And then we'd be looking at the shows, and I'd be like, wow, I can't get you on that show. And do you know what? Like, a big regret of mine, a big regret. So Jack Baker, the coach, he sadly passed away now. And he was a great person, and I fell out with him when I left that gym. So I left the gym.
Was it bitter ending?
I think he had a lot of belief in me, and I think he was at an age where he thought I would be his last fighter, and I think he could see maybe me winning a Welsh title, or kicking on in the amateurs or winning something. And I think it was probably the Cinderella ending that I didn't give him, really, and I feel a bit guilty for that at times. I still think about it, but how it actually happened and how it actually transpired, funnily enough, I was at my dad's house, and do you remember Ringside? Do you remember Ring? It used to be on
boxing show.
Yeah, it used to be on every Thursday. It was a belter. I don't know why they stopped it, but they used to show all these gyms, and every week they'd be an exclusive on this and that. And I remember there was a big piece on Oliver Harrison's gym, and I was watching it. It was like there was Amir Khan, Rocky Fielding, Haroon Khan, Martin Murray, Derry Matthews, and these were all superstars. All I'd seen was these guys on TV, and I was like, wow. And I saw Oliver Harrison, and what, as a human being, the way, honestly, unless you met him, I've never been with someone when they walk into a room and that energy that he had as a human being, God rest him. It's so sad, man, so sad, because he was another Phil Martin from, Salford, Manchester, who inspired so many people, including myself. And I just looked at him and how magnetic he was and how he worked with the fighters, and I could just feel the energy through the TV, and I said, I'm going there.
He's larger than life, weren't he? And a lot of I've only ever had the pleasure of meeting him, but anybody who I've ever speak about him has always said Oliver was a lovely man, great man. And Martin Murray, I've watched documentaries, bits on him, podcasts and stuff, and everybody you'd ever hear talk about Oliver Harrison always speaks of him very, very in the highest regards.
Well, that's it. And again, he's left this vacuum of success like Phil Martin did. Like, obviously, when Phil Martin was a coach, a lot of people then who he trained went on to be great coaches. You had Anthony Farnell, you had obviously Joe Gallagher, and then obviously Oliver's got Jamie Moore, who's a top coach now. I think Martin's getting into the coaching. Alex Matvienko, who's smashing it over in Bolton. Do you know what I mean? So all the success breeds success, doesn't it? And his son Lerone now he's a boxer, and he's a pro in his own rights, and he's doing well. And he had his brother Humphrey working with him there, and it was just the most amazing gym I ever set foot in my life.
So you watched HBO? I mean,
Ringside,
on the Thursday night.
Yeah.
And there was a piece on Oliver Harrison's gym and what you thought, I'm going to go and train in that gym.
I watched that gym, and I swear to God, I got up the next day. I was off work for whatever reason. Again, law of attraction and all that, but I was off. And I said, Mum, I'm going to Salford. I was like, why? And I said, listen, I've seen this gym, and I'm going down there. So I drove down there, nervous, obviously. And the first thing I walked through the door, the first thing I seen was Martin Murray on the pads with Oliver. That was the first thing I seen, and I was like, wow. I've arrived. Do you know what I mean? I've arrived. This is it.
What made you think, Osh, in your mind, that you'd be welcomed or accepted or, brought into this like elite level domestically? It was an elite level gym.
Yeah.
Even there was world level fighters come out of that gym.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm surmising they were on the way to being world level fighters. What made you think in your head, right, I'm going to fucking drive from Wales to Manny and I'm going to walk in this gym and they're going to say, yeah, man, come in and train?
Do you know what? I was probably a bit arrogant and probably a bit naive. And again, a reflection of the man that he was. I walk in there, he probably looked at me and thought, who's this chancer? Deer in the headlights, watching the Martin Murray like that. And he said, come here, son. And he come and chatted to me, and he said, oh, what's your experience like? Oh, I've done this, I've done that. Oh, right, okay. Jump on the bag. And I waited for the class, and then I was there. That was it. I was in. And
did they have an amateur set up there, or it was all pro?
They had an amateur set up. The amateurs used to train at night, and until I moved over full time, I was training with the pros in the morning. Eventually, I transitioned into training once in the morning and once at night as well, once I moved over there. But and I was just waiting there. I was hitting the bag, and then Derry Matthews walks in, and Joe Tonks walks in, and then you've got Haroon Khan walking in, and Rocky Fielding. I'm just there tapping the bag, and like, all right, mate. And I'm like, yeah, you. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was it. And I just, like I say, this was, and you talk about levels: British level, domestic level, world level. I got to a phase in that gym where I looked round, and then obviously Martin Murray robbed of a world title. I think he beat Felix Sturm. I think he beat Sergio Martinez.
Yeah,
I think he beat them both, mate.
He definitely deserved the world title.
It weren't to be, was it, for him? But
What a fighter.
What a fighter. And what a guy as well.
Yeah.
Top kid. And mad story.
I'd
story.
I'd like to meet Martin, you know, go on.
Do you know what? Imagine getting him on here, man.
Yeah.
You should read his book. It's mad. He's had a mad life. But yeah, top guy. But I was looking around and I was thinking, wow, if I become the best fighter in this gym, I'll be one of the best fighters in the world. That's what I was thinking.
No doubt about it.
I was looking around thinking, all right, if I become the top boy in here, you know, I'm the top boy out there. That's honestly how I thought.
Were you looking up to these massively at the time?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I looked up to them. Still do. Everything they've achieved, everything they've gone on. I know how hard it is myself. You know how hard it is yourself as a boxer to go on and kick on what they've done.
It's unbelievable.
And, you know, and anyone, I hope they've all, I don't know.
Box Canelo.
Yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? I hope they've all made an absolute fortune, because if you make any dough out of boxing, you're doing all right.
You've done well.
If you make any dough out of boxing, you've done good. So I hope every single one of them is living it up in a big mansion, nice car, nice bird, everything, mate. I hope they've got it all, mate. Do you know what I mean?
They deserve it, man.
They deserve it. They do.
So you're at Oliver's gym now.
Yeah.
You've rocked in there. You're banging away on the bags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where does it go from here? You're boxing amateur.
Yeah. So at the time, like I say, Oliver was the pro side, and they had an amateur setup where he wasn't so much involved. He was involved, but he took more interest in the pros, as you would. And at the time, all I started doing for the first year was sparring the pros every single day.
Was you sparring the pros?
Yeah, for about so I had about 1 week there, 2 weeks. They sparred every Friday. Every Friday they'd spar. So every Friday I was nervous, man.
What was that like? Walking in there, walking in the gym's one thing, and hitting bags. I should take me ass to you to be getting in there, sparring. Then what would Oliver just say? Like, go on, kick, glove up, jump in with them.
Yeah, it was very much. I was so nervous, man. I was nervous every time though, because these were established guys. They were either elite amateurs, which I wasn't at the time. Like I say, I must have had about 12 fights at the time, so I was still a novice really, and I was fighting either top amateurs or established pros. No one wants to get beat up by the kid from Wales who rocks up here with his gum shield trying to have a pop. So every spar was a fight, yeah. Every single day. They wanted to hurt me, they wanted to knock me out. Top guys, and they were preparing for fights. They were getting ready for serious fights. So why would they take it easy on me?
They're not going to waste the time either.
Man. Nah, and do you know what? So many people there came and went. And I won't name them on here, but good kids came and went. Good kids.
When you say came and went, for the people who are watching, I know what you mean. You mean they've come there, they've tried it, and they've went, this isn't for me.
Came there, didn't fancy it, been beat up or just not gelled or whatever. So I think the longer I stayed there, and it's like that old saying, isn't it? Like, if you go into a barber shop, you wait long enough, eventually you get your hair cut, won't you? So it was me lingering, and eventually that's when they started going, okay, this kid's still here. He's getting beat up every session. He's sparring every session. He comes back. You know, he's like a boomerang. Can't get rid of him, mate. Do you know what I mean? And he's driving there. I was driving. You know, it's over an hour. You know, 3-4 times a week.
You were driving from Wales.
Yeah.
To Salford.
Yeah, and people don't realise, like, I was having this conversation with Ryan in the gym the other day, because he's gone through similar stuff. Like, I would go down there and, like, I would spar and I would get beat up, man. Like, beat up really bad. And I would drive home. And why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I doing? I'd cry, mate. I'd cry. Like, that's how much it mattered to me. I had a passion for it. I'd cry. And this went on, like, for a long time, you know. I got home and, like, my face would be a mess and I'd be fucking so upset. And Mum would say to me, why? Why are you doing it? And sometimes I couldn't even answer myself. I didn't even know.
There's something inside that's driving you to keep doing it.
And then the next day, all right, okay, I better go.
Do you know anybody who's not a boxer, or maybe not even from a fighting background, when they hear the sparring, to me it's like they don't realise the severity of tough sparring, and like some spars are harder than fights. A lot of spars are harder than fights, aren't they?
I remember before my pro debut, I was sparring. I was down at Dufferin. I was training there, and I'd spar most nights. You know, 5 nights a week, 4 or 5 nights a week with really good kids. There was 2 pros down there, two good pros. There was really good amateurs there, top boys, and you know, they were bigger than me, some of them, and I used to feel like. I used to know, and it was peace of mind. I would know, and it was the same at Oliver's. I know that my opponent is not going to be as good as the people I'm sparring, and it was a war zone, mate. Yeah, it was. A lot of the time, it was tough, and you can go in there and have a touch spar, have a move out spar, whatever you want to do. But if you're in a serious gym with serious boys, it's not
open
messing about.
sparring.
Yeah, you're not messing about. You know, these kids, like, we touched on it briefly earlier, like when I used to travel to gyms for sparring, you know, no one wants to be showing up in their own gym. If you walk in there, you know, it's on.
It's hostile.
100%, it's on. Do you know what I mean? And I grew up around that, and I do still think to this day, sparring in other gyms is the best preparation.
It makes you grow, yeah.
Definitely. Because you get comfortable with people. Like, I know people that I've sparred hundreds of rounds with, and you get comfortable, and in the end,
you know their traits.
Yeah, I know his, he knows mine. Do you know what I mean? And it gets to that extent, you need to take yourself out of that comfort zone, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Comfort zone's a dangerous place to be.
The atmosphere is different as well, isn't
Definitely.
it? Not only just in the room between you and the person you're sparring. Like if you're training with somebody all the time, your friends, you know them, you get in there. Or some people don't understand that as well. Like you're still gonna exchange. It doesn't matter if you're mate. You're just still gonna put it all out there. But when you don't know somebody, it's got that little bit of extra, bit of extra needle and a bit more tension and that. But
do you know what? I've been to some gyms, right? And I remember when I was boxing at Ashton Albion. And I'll never forget this. And we went down to Northside, which was a really good gym, still a great gym. And I went down there for sparring. And literally, you spar, everyone stops. And you got the coaches, come on. And everyone shouts in that, man. And it's like a fight. And I remember going down there. I loved it, though. I loved it. Do you know what I mean? But I was nervous. I was like, watching people go in before me. It's like, you know, twitchy bum time. Like, it's on here. Do you know what I mean? But it was kill or be killed there. It really was. But I think, like I say earlier, it's the best prep you can get for an actual fight. Definitely.
So you're in there now and you're sparring with all the pros.
Yeah.
And obviously these top flight, amateur, elite level lads. Are you boxing amateur for all of us? Or
yeah,
what
so
are
I boxed
doing?
a couple of fight strokes. Eventually, I think I had probably about 12 amateur fights with Oliver. And then
how does the decision come to turn pro?
So at that stage, during my time in there, like I had several breakthroughs, several good moments as well. A couple of times, like I did do a job on some good kids who I won't name and I won't shame. You know what I mean? Like, don't get wrong, there's loads of kids that are bad me. I've been bad in sparring loads of times. You know what I mean? But there was kids and then I remember the first time I was sparring a kid and he had a fight coming up, so he was sharp, but I was quite sharp. And I remember, like, I've never claimed to be a banger in the ring, right? But my left to the body, it'll take you out, mate. It'll cripple you, it'll fold you like a pretzel, mate. I promise you. I remember digging it in on this kid, and he dropped like a sack of spuds. And I remember going, oh, fucking hell, you're right. Do you know what I mean? I was shocked, because I was always the guy getting beat up, and all of a sudden everyone's looking like, oh, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? And I remember driving home, and I remember just going, yes, do you know what I mean? Yes, like, oh my, I knew that was my moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I've done it, I've cracked it. And that was when that transition was made. It took me 2 years in that gym before Oliver took me on the pads.
I love that story because there's so many people who don't know boxing, who won't understand that. Like the people seem to think that, like, if you win a fight, you carry on like that. Yeah. But if you've been getting your ass handed to you every single session, time and time again, when you have that breakthrough moment in that spar, that was a huge breakthrough. That was massive.
You imagine, man, being battered for 2 years, like every session, getting upset, wanting to cry, wanting to fuck it off, wanting to leave, not wanting to do it no more. And when you finally get that breakthrough, it's just such a release, and it gave me that confidence, and that's when I kicked on. But going back to what you said about turning pro, another huge turning point in my life, and something I regret. I would have loved to have turned pro with Oliver Hannison and Humphrey. I'd have loved to turn pro with Oliver's. At that time, I must have been about 23, 24. Perfect timing for me, to be honest with you. But timing's everything, isn't it? Maybe not. I was having this conversation again the other day. Maybe I wasn't mentally ready at that time, because I can't even remember what I was like at 23 as a person. I can't remember, like, it's weird. I can't even remember what I was like. I'm a different person at 31 than I was at 30. You just change, don't you? And maybe I wasn't mentally ready. But I never turned pro with Oliver. I got involved in a relationship. And then I moved to another part of Manchester. So I was just outside Manchester. And I ended up training in other gyms. I went to Ashton Albion. I went to Hope Street. Did I go anywhere else? I think I went to the gym in Staley Bridge, bit of Northside. So I went to other gyms. None of them quite had that feel. None of them. None of them.
When you were training at Oliver's, you were travelling there and back every day. Did you end up moving to Manchester?
Yeah, so after about a year, I moved to Ordsall in Salford, and then I started my second stint in uni.
What was that like? Was it rough?
Yeah, it's funny, you know. It's funny because when I'm in North Wales now, you know, they say, oh, that area is rough or that area is rough.
It's not.
And I think, okay, now you don't know rough, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And do you know what, though? Everyone told me, don't move there, it's well rough, it's this, it's that. You know what, the people of Salford, they you know, they really was salt of the earth, you know. They really was. And I used to go running every night, every single night, pitch black, whatever, 10 p.m. Not once in the many years I lived there, 4 or 5 years, did I ever get any mither. Not once. Do you know what I mean?
Them people, like when you know, where people say, oh, it's fucking rough there, don't go though. As you say, they're some of the best people in the world.
Defo.
You know what I mean?
I loved it then. I met a lot of people there, good people, who I'm still in touch with now. Do you know what I mean? Whether it be boxing people or just people in Salford. And yeah, it was life-changing for me in so many aspects of my life. And like we touched on earlier about being mixed race in North Wales, it was difficult at times. But when I was in Salford, it was mad because I was being in Salford and like, it was normal.
Yeah, Salford.
It was normal. And that was nice for me. Yeah. I felt, it's weird because as much as I feel at home in North Wales, and I do, it's sometimes hard to feel like, especially to know where you belong. And
do you feel like you belong in Salford? In Manny, did you feel?
I feel
not maybe necessarily now, but then.
Yeah, then it felt like home, and there it felt like I belonged somewhere where I was just a normal kid. Do you know what I mean? Right, then I just needed that. At that time in my life, I needed that. Do you know what I mean? Like now how I need North Wales, at that time I needed Salford, I needed Manchester, I needed the city, I needed that life. But yeah.
You went from a country boy to a city man.
That's it, mate. That's it.
That's
it. Big change. Because like I touched on earlier,
a lot of people from the country can't handle the city, or you know what I mean? Not that they, not necessarily when I say can't handle it. Some of them don't want to fucking handle it either. Like some people like to be living in the countryside. You know what I mean? They don't want that hustle and bustle.
Therefore.
For me, obviously, I've always lived in the city, and I love the country. I love to get out of the city a little bit. Now and again for a break. But if you said to me, Jack, would you live there? No. I'm setting me. I like the hustle and the bustle. That's, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah. I think for me now, where I am in my life right now, it suits me better because I'm not good with distractions. You know, like I'm not good with distractions. So I think when I was there, and I'll touch on that. I think when I go to Manchester now, when I go to the city now, because I still go back, like even when I come to Liverpool, because I trained a bit in Four Corners down the road as well, and I enjoyed it there.
Long Lane.
Yeah, Long Lane, yeah. And when I come to any city, like especially Manchester, I do feel at home a little bit. I'm like, okay, I feel good now. Yeah. I do still get that, I do still get that feeling. But so I never turned pro with Oliver.
So the girl who you met, was that a good relationship, bad relationship? What was the score there?
Bad. I'm not even going to butter it up, mate. It was just bad. I met someone, first serious relationship I probably got into, probably a bit naive at the time, a couple of years older than me, and I was just a bit not switched on enough and didn't see some red flags, even though I probably ignore red flags anyway. Do you know what I mean? I've done that in the past as well.
That was saying about before, about your gut and your mind.
Your gut and your mind,
you thinking I shouldn't be doing this, but fuck it, I'll do it
anyway.
That's
it, mate. That's it. But it just wasn't a good relationship at all. And it was just something where I really lost my focus with boxing and life in general.
Was you going out watching that at the time?
Flat out, mate.
Flat
out, yeah. I was going out all the time.
Was you partying?
Partying hard. Wasn't living the right life.
Was you drinking, drugs? What was the shit?
Bit of everything.
Yeah,
a bit of everything. Eating bad, just not living the life, not focused. Turn up to the gym willy nilly and ballooning up in weight. As always, to be honest with you, I'm guilty of that even to this day, man. I've never been a great one at doing that, but ballooning up to heavy weight and do you know what was mad? And I remember. Even when I was a fat fucker, I'd get in the ring and I'd spar and I could still hold my own, It was like,
still be all right.
Yeah, and people used to say, oh, if you lose this weight, you'll be half decent. I'm like, at that time, though, I didn't care. Like, I'd lost Jack Baker. I'd lost Oliver Harrison. I wasn't in contact with me mum and dad much at all because I was in this toxic relationship. So I didn't really have that father figure and I needed it. I needed someone to say, hang on a minute, Osh, you're going to blow it.
Did you cut yourself off?
Yeah. Absolutely. I cut myself off from everyone, cut myself off. And I needed someone just to grab hold of me and go, listen, like,
what are you fucking doing?
Yeah, fucking stop it. Wind your neck in, let's do it. Let's crack on with what you're doing. You were on something, you were onto it. You was doing good. I'd gone from sparring, top kids in all the Harrison's gym, to being 14, 15 stone, not giving a fuck, jumping from job to job, no focus, and I was just not the person that I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I wasn't me no more.
This is like diverting a little bit, but do you think like with men that is an issue in terms of people see men like they think like you sort of where you should be or you know what you should be doing, and you think sometimes we all need an arm round us where someone will say to you, come here lad, look what the fuck are you doing here, or guidance, or a little bit of a shoulder to say. But because a lot of men are like very like ego driven, or don't feel open to be able to hold their hands up and admit that, because I feel like I need that sometimes in my life, time to time, someone to put their hand on my shoulder and go, Jack, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
I think we all do, and I agree. And it's only the last year or two I would say that there has been greater emphasis on support for men in terms of mental health and suicide and things like that. It's rife. It's crazy if you look at the figures, and I think so many men make good people, but make bad decisions, and I've been guilty of that. I like to think I've got a good arm and a good person, but I've made bad decisions and I've done bad things. Doesn't make me a bad person. Yeah. But what I would say in terms of that, yes, I think we need that person to go, what you're doing. Like I say, I needed someone to go, hang on a minute, Osh, like, you're going to blow it here. I needed that. But would I have listened then? Maybe not.
Was it a domino effect? Do you think, I feel like this in life, like, say you're eating well. Yeah. And you're not going out, you're not partying. Yeah. And you're training. It's like, it's compounded. Everything starts like getting better and better and better. Definitely. But it's the same on the other scale, innit? Yeah. It's like, if you start fucking around, you're going out partying, you're with this bird, you're in a toxic relationship. Yeah. You start fucking your mates off, you start fucking your family off. Before you know it, it's a domino effect going back the other way.
Everything. Everything. And do you know what? When you're in that, when you're involved in it and when you're there, you don't realise how shit it was until you leave it, yeah? Then you look back. So you look back and go, fuck, what was all that about? Why did I tolerate that? And I think so many people who are in relationships now, they're so comfortable with being treated like shit or they're treated badly. And then some of them, and I feel for them because some of them don't know how to get out, or they're not brave enough to get out. But everyone can get out of these shit relationships, these shit situations. Like I was touching on earlier, like I left everything, man. Like I had a car and a house and I was set up, good job at the time, earning decent money, do you know what I mean? And I just fucked it all off because it weren't right for me.
What was the call on? What made you do that? Was there a definitive moment where you went fucking something happened that made you want to do it, or was it just like a gradual thing? What happened?
I think something, I can't remember top of my head exactly what it was. It was yet another argument, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Do you know what I mean? And I was done. And that day, like, I just left and I didn't have anything to go to. I remember I didn't leave my job straight away because I still realised I needed, I wasn't speaking to anyone. Like, it was just me. And I needed money. And I remember living in a lad who I barely knew, to be fair to him, and I thank him to this day. Like, I barely knew the kid. I worked with him, and I said, look, like, this has happened. I've got nowhere to live. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he let me live in his attic. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what? And to this day, like, it sounds like it was fucking Baltic, mate. but do you know what? I look back and think I was blessed. Blessed. There's people out on the street,
There's some people out there, man.
Yeah, and this guy barely knew me. Come on, live with me. And I was there for a couple of weeks while I was getting my shit together. And in that time, probably tail between my legs time, really, I started to rebuild relationships with my family, a little bit with my friends, and slowly but surely, my family always would have been there for me, but I'm quite a proud man, yeah. And I didn't want to ask, and I didn't expect things, and eventually I moved back with my nana, yeah. And that was where I suppose my life was on the up again, yeah. Yeah, but you have to go through these horrible times.
That was the turning point. You learn a lot in the horrible times. Something else I'm going to touch on with you. I don't know whether you want to talk about it or not. You got in trouble with the police, didn't you?
Yeah, I got in a bit during that time, probably midway through that relationship. Like I say, it was a 4 or 5 year relationship, probably 2 or 3 year in. We were out on a night out, and to be fair, as hard work as she was, on this night it weren't her fault, and She was hard work, mate. Let me tell you, she was hard work. But on this particular night, it weren't her fault. And some friend of her ex was giving it beans and giving her a lot of grief. To be honest with you.
Was you in Manchester in this?
Yeah, we
town
were. Yeah, we were out, and me and him got involved in a fight, and
was it in a bar or in the street? What happened?
Yeah, it was a bar. I threw a couple of punches inside this bar. He's ran out. I've chased him. I've hit him again, and thought nothing of it. To be honest with you, we had a tear up. He seemed okay. And then I got, I went home, and a couple of days later, I had the police knocking at my door, and I was charged.
Did he press charges? Did he?
Yeah, he pressed charges. Yeah, which I thought was a sneaky move,
Shitbag
to be honest. Shitbag, mate. Yeah. But that's. Do you know what? And as much as it fucking infuriates me now to think about it and to talk about it, I don't regret it. Yes. I don't regret it because he was in the wrong, and I'll always hold my hands up. If I'm in the wrong about something, I'll go, you know what, I was a prick there. That was on me. But that night, that was on him.
Do you know what?
That was on him, man.
I'm behind you there.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. That's how it should be sometimes.
I was portrayed like in the paper. I was portrayed as a bad human being. Do you know what I mean? I think.
Did it make the papers?
Yeah, man. It made the papers. Do you know what I mean? And then I was flapping it, mate. I was flapping it.
Did you think you could be going?
I thought I was going to jail. Yeah, I did. As it turned out, I ended up going on tag for a couple of months, and that was an interesting time. Yeah, but I was on tag, and funnily enough, I shouldn't laugh, but I will. I was boxing at the time at Ashton Albion. They'll tell you this, man. They'll tell you this. So I had my curfew. I can't remember exactly what the hours were. It was something like be in bed by fucking 7 o'clock or whatever it is. So I was boxing at the time in the amateur shows, and I remember I used to have to go there, and I used to have to box before all the little kids, mate, because it was past my bedtime, mate, and I had to be in, do you know what I mean? So I boxed, and I remember once I was getting on dead late on this show. I was dead late, right? And the David Hay fight was on. He was fighting someone. I was in Salford Labour Club, right? I was in Salford, and David Hay. No, it wasn't David. It was the undercard. So the undercard starts. I'm about to fight. Everyone in the room turns their back on the ring and is just watching the TV, right? So I'm like, right, okay, I better go, I better fight. And I was with Wayne at the time, and Wayne said, fucking hell, it's 6:30. I said, 6:30? We're in Salford, mate. I'm living in Hyde. I need to get home, John. So anyway, yeah, I rushed through it. Stopped the kid in the second round, mate. Proper rushed it. So I was like, got home, like literally got in the house. I'm not even joking, about 6:59, mate. Sat down, I'm like, fuck, I can't keep doing this. It's going to give me a heart attack, mate, honestly.
Fucking legend.
But I look back, and again, another shit time, but a massive learning curve. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. That was a brilliant story. Do you think they should start doing that, Osh? You know the way it's always like the kids in it, and then the seniors are on at the end.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not like, obviously I love the kids and I love watching the kids boxing, but the seniors is exciting, and that's where it happens. Right. And a lot of time, you see, like, you go in the place, it's rammed, and then as the junior bouts start finishing, the place starts emptying out. I reckon they should throw a little senior bout in the mix at the very start.
Definitely.
And it'd make people stay to the fucking end.
With all due respect, like, I've done amateur boxing, I've done unlicensed boxing, I've done professional boxing. And this is where the amateur boxing has got it wrong. The shows, like, so, for example, unlicensed show, you turn up, you got your Susie Wong shorts on, you turn up to a belting tune, everyone's there, it's all senior bouts, everyone's there buzzing for it, it's sick. Do you know what I mean? The shows are class, mate. The shows are class. They're up there with pro shows, right? And then you got the amateur show, no music. You're in like a labour club, and like you got
they're the hardest fights in the world as well, aren't they?
That's it, hardest fights. And you've got a 15 fight card, and 13 of them are kids, and a lot of people don't want to watch it. Because people, most of the time, people don't give a fuck. If it's amateur, unlicensed or pro, they want to go out, they want to have a beer.
And they want to see someone.
Yeah, and they want to see someone get battered, mate, and they want to go home. Like, that's what boxing at the base level, that's what it is. That's what it's about. And I think that's when amateur boxing needs to take a look at itself, because amateur boxing moans about unlicensed and stuff like that. But if people want to buy tickets and go to that show, amateur boxing should look at it and go, oh, right, well, why? What are we doing wrong? And this is where the problem lies with North Wales. And I said this earlier. It was very much an old man's club back in the day, yeah? So you had all these old men on the board. They'd been on the board for years, and it was so old-fashioned. And I don't know who's involved in it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same people. Like,
it will be, probably.
Yeah, like when I rang them up and said I was moving to Oliver Harrison's gym, they laughed, mate. They laughed. Oh, what are you going to a pro gym for? Da-da-da. And I would never have done what I've done now if I'd have stayed there.
You'd have still been doing the same thing, going
I'd
around.
still be knocking about, you know, the gang of Wallies, probably being the best of a very bad bunch.
Yeah.
Who cares? Do you know what I mean?
That's not disrespectful, that's just
That's
how it is.
That's not disrespectful. It's the truth, and they need telling, because unfortunately they're losing generations of boxers, especially now the MMA's come in, so people could do MMA now. Like, you go to Liverpool, like, you got Paddy you got Meatball Molly, you got all these. I trained with Chris Fishgold as well. Like, you know what I mean? You got amazing opportunities 45 minutes down the road now, and they're going to lose a generation of fighters.
This city's like the opposite. Like, if you can make it out of here, you can fucking make it anywhere.
Liverpool, Manchester, 100%.
There's a fighter on every corner, and there's a kid on every corner, and they're all fucking hungry. And you know,
they got nothing. A lot of these kids, mate, they got nothing. Do you know what I mean?
If you can stand out amongst the crowd like that, when you do get out of that grassroots level and you do get there, I believe you can fucking beat anybody, because it's so hard.
Look how successful these kids are. Like, every single fight, Meatball Molly is like winning best fight of the night or winning knockout of the night, and she's getting 50k, 100k. You know, you're looking at this on TV and you're going, wow.
Yeah, and if she was doing that somewhere else, in a back alley fucking club in the arse end of Liverpool.
It's mental. It's crazy.
You signed with Kieran Farrell?
Yeah, so how it worked about. So I came back to Wales. Like I say, I was in a bit of a shit state. I started, but I'd not boxed for a while. I went to Creamfields or somewhere, and mate, I had a heavy one, proper heavy one. And I said, oh God, I need to sort this out now. Do you know what I mean? I need to sort my life out. Started running again, started training. And I trained with my mate, actually, a guy I knew from years before called Mike Egan down at Gym 13. I trained there. And I'd done a couple of unlicensed fights, but the only reason I'd done them, at that point, I had no ambition turning pro. I thought that ship had sailed, yeah? You have to remember, I was 26, 27 maybe at the time. And then all I wanted at that time, because I'd spent so many years in Manchester, and altogether I'd had about 30 fights in Manchester, and that my family didn't come, my friends didn't come, and all I wanted to do was go out there, have one or two unlicensed fights, and then call it a day. My family and friends. That was my mindset at that time.
You're going to retire.
100%.
This is it. It's 100%.
Over. I wanted me family and friends to come and watch, and that'd be it. And they could see all the hard work that I'd done in Manchester and what I'd achieved and whatever. And I did that, and I'd done a couple of unlicensed. I've done about 4 or 5, and I really did well. And I think I got the bug back. I was training hard. I got the confidence back. Mike was a good trainer, and he really got me in a good mindset. Yeah, he got me in a really good mindset, and I think at that point, I did. I think that even then, I didn't think I could turn pro. And I went on. I think I had one more fight, and I stopped the kid, and I thought, oh, this is quite a nice fight to go out on. I stopped him. My family was there. My friends was there, and I thought, oh, and I was in the away corner, I think.
Fairy tale ending.
Yeah, and I thought, nice, and that was it. And then I was in on holiday with another ex-partner, and and I was there, and Kieran, I believe, messaged me on Instagram, I think it was, and we got talking. And at that time, I'd been back at Oliver's, so I'd gone down to see the lads, and I used to train with a guy sometimes there who I used to spar for years called Thomas, and he's the coach there now, one of the coaches, great guy. So at that point, the thought started coming back about maybe turning pro. I was 27, 28, and in my mindset, I thought, okay, just have a couple of fights and see what you can do. And so I was in contact. I had contacts with Thomas because he was close friends with Johnny Roy and a couple of other people who were with MTK. So MTK was an option. I was having a couple of conversations at the time with Matthew Hatton, who was obviously a good trainer. And and he was...
Did you know Matthew personally? Or?
Not personally, no. We'd had that conversation. I'd sent him some footage, and we thought we could talk. We thought we'd sit down. And then obviously I knew Alex Matvienko, and at this point, Matthew and Alex were really early into the promotions and managing stage, and again, MTK were fairly early. They weren't where they were now, but they've all smashed it. The three of them,
haven't they?
Yeah, they blew up massive. But I met Kieran. I drove down, and I had a conversation with Kieran, and we really hit it off.
Did he message you just out of the blue, or how did that happen? Or?
Yeah, I think it was out of the blue. I think he must have seen something somewhere. I never had that conversation with him to see what he actually saw, and he asked a bit about my background. I told him I trained at Oliver's, a couple of amateur fights, doing a license, and then we met and we hit it off. And out of everyone who I'd had that conversation with, I really had a lot of time for Kieran, and I had a lot of time for them all, but Kieran was someone I thought, okay, this is the guy who can take me from there to there, and he was very supportive, and to be fair, he's cracked it. Do you know what I mean? He again was at early stages then, and he's doing well. He's got big shows and he's doing well. He's flying, man.
Did he start to make you believe in yourself a little bit more?
Definitely. I started going down to Kieran and sparring some good kids. So he had some lads that were signed with him and sparred them, and did okay, held me own. And I think we did some pad sessions first, a couple of pad sessions and stuff. And I just really liked him as a person. Still do. But I had a lot of time for him, and I just felt at that point he was going to take me from there to there, and he did.
He did,
yeah. He did.
So you signed with him.
Yeah.
And then the pro debut came.
Yeah.
What you'd always dreamed of, this long awaited pro debut.
Yeah. So
where was your debut, and how did it come?
So it come on short notice, funnily enough. So I was funny story, yeah. So I was, before I get to that, it was a Joe Gallagher show, M22 Promotions in Wythenshawe, and fair dues to Joe. He's given a lot back to his area. He's from Wythenshawe, which, as we know, it has been a deprived. I think it's the biggest council estate in Europe. Do you know what I mean? Again,
he's a top trainer, Joe.
Top trainer, man. Top guy as well. And I remember I used to go to I used to go down to Wythenshawe to Jimmy Egan's, to Egan's gym and span. They was all top kids, top lads, top area, to be honest with you. And so I started going down to Gallagher's. Kieran hooked me up, got it sorted, and he said to me, he rang me one day and he goes, "Are you up for some sparring?" And I was in work the next day, and I said, "Oh, when, mate?" He said, "Tomorrow." I said, "Oh, I'll see what I can do." "Who is it anyway?" And he goes, "Anthony Crawler."
I'm staying off work.
I said, "You what? You joking?" And it was Anthony Crawler's last fight before he retired, yeah? So the last time I seen this guy, Anthony Crawler, I was in the MEN Arena watching him fight Barroso, where he takes him out, and everyone said he was going to get smashed, yeah? I watched him win the world title as well, but I watched him against Barroso, and he knocked him out on a body shot, yeah? And everyone said he was going to get killed, and obviously since then he's gone to fight Lomachenko, he's fought Linares, he's done it all, and I know everyone says it, and he is the nicest guy in boxing. He is the nicest guy in boxing. He really is.
To you, was Crawler the superstar at the time?
Absolutely superstar. And not only him, you had Marcus Morrison in the gym, you had Sam Hyde in the gym, you had Butler, you had the Smith brothers. They were all there, man.
Had you ever sparred at that level before? Well, obviously you'd sparred at high level before with being in Oliver's, but when he said to come down to spar Crawler, was you nervous and excited all at the same time?
I wasn't actually nervous. I was just excited because I thought this is a huge opportunity that I can always talk about, and here we are. Do you know what I mean? I always talk about, and I always have that conversation.
Walk me through it. What happened? Did you spar him?
Yeah. So I got it off work. Don't know how. And I got it off work, and I went down there. I drove down to Bolton. It's Amir Khan's old gym, Gallagher's. Yeah, or it's still his gym, whatever it is. And I walked in there, and honestly, like, you had Jose Burton on the speedball. You had Callum Smith on the treadmill, Liam Smith over there, Paul Smith doing something, walk into change rooms, Marcus Morrison, Sam Hyde, Paul, like, they're all superstars. They're all stars. And then, like, I'd seen these guys on Sky Sports. That's the only time I'd seen, like, wow, like, and I thought, I've arrived here, I've made it. Do you know what I mean? Look, I'm doing all right. Like, and like, I was an estate agent at the time, yeah? So the day before, I'm showing someone around the pad, and the next day, here I am, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And I said, "How you doing, Ant? You okay?" Bit started. So, "Yeah, I'm good." And then Joe goes, "Get yourself warmed up, mate." And I'm like, "All right, sweet." Like, just jump. And I did I done 4 rounds of Ant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I done 4 rounds of Ant, and then in my head, what I was thinking was, I didn't have a goal. I didn't like think, right, okay, well, you're gonna try and knock him out, or you're gonna cover it up, or you're gonna. I thought in my head, if I get asked to come back,
I've done something right.
I've done okay, right? So I'd done the sparring, like I say, top guy, got the pictures and all that. And I thought I was leaving, and no one was coming up to me. And I thought, oh, I must have done shit. Well, and then I was back door, and he goes, whoa, Joe goes, and he goes, Osh. I go, yeah, come here. And he goes, can you come next week? I thought, yes, get in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I done all right, I done good, and I thought that. But with them, and then that's what it was. So Joe knew who I was at that point. He could put a face to me and whatever. And I think that was in the November. And then my pro debut was going to be in the March. Kieran was putting on his own show in the Reebok Stadium where I boxed. And so I was there. And it was Christmas time, and I think it must have been about a week before Christmas. Again, I was showing someone around the house, and Kieran was ringing me, and I thought, because me and Kieran usually spoke via text or Instagram, WhatsApp. Anyway, I thought he must be bearing some sort of news, like, do you know what I mean? And I said, oh, how you doing? You all right? He goes, yeah, do you fancy making your pro debut in January? And I'm like, fucking hell, like I say, I always ballooned up in weight, and I was like, oh, do I weigh?
Fell off.
And get you a fight at 69 kilo. And I was like, okay.
What do you think you are at this moment in time, Osh, when he's on the phone to you?
75. 75.
Solid 70.
75.
There was no doubt about that.
Like, yeah, sweet. What do you weigh, bro? 71. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Look,
old school, innit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely.
Even when you go sparring, you go on the gym or whatever, say,
Yeah.
what does he weigh? He says fucking 67. Yeah, well, he's 70. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's always the way, innit? Like, I always ballooned up, mate, because I was a 65 kilo man. And, mate, you would never catch me outside the gym less than 75. Never. Greedy fucker, do you know what I mean? So, sweet tooth, mate. Bad sweet tooth. That's my bird, honestly. Bad. And so I went to... So I got home and I weighed myself 75. I was like, shit, okay. Anyway, I wanted to fight, and it was Joe Gallagher, and it was 2 weeks away. I think it was just under 2 weeks away. Anyway, I didn't ask much about the opponent, really, because it was a good showing with and short. And this is what I was saying, we'd done the press conference. I spoke in front of cameras like this. And at the time, like I say, I'd seen Marcus Morrison. I said it in the interview. And then I saw Sam Hyde on TV, all these people. And then I'm sat on this, I'll show you later. I'm sat on this table.
We'll pull it up.
Yeah, man, we'll show it. Yeah. I'm sat on this table, and then they're next to me. And I'm looking around like that. Oh my God, like I'm here, and they're talking to Marcus about his fight, they're talking to Sam Hyde. I'm like, yeah, come to me. And anyway, I was getting interviewed by Seconds Out. I was getting interviewed by IFL, and I'm just watching these people on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Here I am, like. And,
when you got interviewed by IFL?
Yeah.
Was it Coogan?
Nah, it wasn't Coogan. Nah, it was someone else, some other kid. It was
Umar or someone.
Yeah,
like
someone like
that.
that. But I was just like, it was. I feel like I handled it okay. Do you know what I mean? Like I can talk, as you can see. I like talking. Do you know what I mean? So I done it all right, but. Yeah, and I was just, at that point, I was really up for it, yeah. And at that point, I think I was quite close to the weight because I dieted hard, I trained hard, I was running 2-3 times a week. I hit the sparring heavy. And, and I had my pro debut on that show. I fought just after Sam Hyde had fought Deon Juma, and I think he got Fight of the Year. It was an absolute
massive
war. Deon Juma fought last weekend for the British, and he got beat. But yeah, he's a lovely guy as well. I still speak to on social media and that. But yeah, so that happened, and I had my pro debut, and I won. Yeah.
Dream comes through, innit?
Dream comes true, mate.
Every fighter who walks through the door of a gym,
yeah,
that is, like people say about world titles and this, that, and the other, but your dream is to walk out in them fucking 6 Susie long shorts in that gap in front of all them people.
But that's it. Done it. That's it. It was all there, you know. Who else was there? Pat Barrett was there. Someone I looked up to. Loved as fighter.
Pat.
Yeah, doing well as a trainer.
Pat and Wayne Smith.
Then the sort of people that I was looking up to, and they were there ringside. And Pat said, "Well in, mate, good performance, top debut." There was people that looked at my debut and they were like, "That was a good performance." That. And Alex Matvienko said it to me in my second fight. He said, "That was a good debut." That he said that to me. And for Alex to praise you, and for Pat to praise you, you must have done all right. And how it worked out. I done my pro debut and I got interviewed and all that, and I won my fight. And it was weird, you know. It was a weird feeling because it almost felt like, okay, and the first time, because we talk about ambition and we talk about dreaming, and I am a dreamer, but I always knew what my level was. Like some of these kids now, they sat on the interview and they go, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. They don't really believe it, bro.
Yeah.
Put a lie detector on them, yeah. They don't believe it. They just don't want to get a job.
Yeah.
They just don't want to work, right? So they say, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. I knew what my level was, and I felt my level was if I really worked hard and I really worked my bollocks off. You have to remember, I was 28 at the time, yeah? And I thought I could win a Welsh title and maybe, you know, get a last-minute opportunity at a British. That was my mindset,
British is just the dream, innit? Like, because it's a coveted belt, innit? You know, you want it, don't you?
And I suppose we'll talk about it later, how I walked away and how I weighed up my option, because as much as I am a dreamer, I am a very methodical thinker at the same time.
Realistic.
Very realistic, where some of these kids, man, like I say, they just don't want to work. They just don't want to get a job, and they can't go, okay, I've done this, I've done that, this is where I need to go next. They'd rather go, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to absolutely milk this out until I can't do it no more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's when you get hurt.
Ticket sales.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is a part that I've really been looking forward to talk to you about, Josh, because anyone who doesn't really know boxing doesn't understand. Like, people see, like, you know, the bright lights, the big shows and all that. Now, loads of work's went in for you to get there in terms of training, sacrifice your diet, everything you've just touched on, and the sparring as well, but you've got to sell tickets.
Yeah.
There's two different worlds, isn't there, being a professional boxer? There's the world of a journeyman.
That's it.
And there's a prospect.
That's it.
Explain that to us and walk us through that a little bit.
Firstly, I love boxing.
For anyone who doesn't know.
That's it. I love boxing. I hate the business. I love boxing, right? But amateur boxing, unlicensed boxing, whatever, it's a sport, okay? You turn up, you fight, you go home. Like, professional boxing is a business, and it's a brutal business. And if you're not a big ticket seller, you've got two options. You fuck it off, or you become a journeyman. And that's up to you. And I've got so much respect for these journeymen. And casual boxing fans and people who don't get boxing, these journeymen don't get no respect.
Explain to the casual boxing fan or people who don't watch boxing what a journeyman is.
So a journeyman is someone who will turn up most weekends and have a fight with a prospect. And they will turn up and they will do a job, and they will sometimes try and win. Sometimes they will just get through the fight because they know they are fighting the following weekend. They are tough as they come and very skilled at what they do. So, you know, these people might fight as much as, 50 times a year. So they will get a guaranteed wage when they turn up, regardless if they shift a ticket or not. So I think the going rate when I was boxing, don't know what it is now. I think for 4 rounds it was a G or 1,200, something like that. Yeah. So I think that was the going rate at the time. So as a prospect, you have to sell tickets. You are required to sell tickets. So if you don't want to be a journeyman, you want to be a prospect, make sure you're a popular kid.
So if you are a prospect, you're supposed to be stepping. These are supposed to be the journeymen. Are supposed to be the stepping stones to build your profile to get you to them high profile fights.
Ideally, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to.
Doesn't always happen, as we know.
It doesn't always happen. Like we touched on this off camera, right? These journeymen, some of them were amateur. These were amateur good kids, national champions, whatever. They turned pro. They can't shift tickets. So they've gone to make money for their family, for themselves, for their mortgage, whatever. They've gone to do that. And it's an admirable thing that they do. And like 100%. I say, you get people, casuals, going, oh my God, that guy's
he's a journeyman, or he's a bum, or
he's 100 fights, he's lost 80. Yeah, it's his job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he's minted.
Try and get in there and
do you know what I mean?
Try and get in there and go the distance with the kid who's trying to take your head off, who is a prospect, who's a decent, high quality, talented fighter. It's hard, very, very, very hard to do.
But I genuinely believe some of these journeymen, they are so skilled. A lot of them would be able to turn over the prospect. I'll tell you a story about a kid, right? And I won't name him. So this kid for a well-known promoter on his show as the underdog, as the journeyman. So he comes in and he beats the kid. Yeah. So he turns this prospect over, right? The next week, he goes and fights on the same show. Yeah, same promoter. In a 4-rounder. He's 2 rounds in through this, and he's turning over the kid, yeah?
Yeah.
Boxing lesson, mate. Boxing lesson. I'll tell you off camera it was, yeah? Yeah. Anyway, he goes into the 3rd round, and his coach says to him, listen, mate, you can go out now, and you can win this fight, or you can lose this fight and carry on getting work. Because if you win this fight, you will never, ever fight on this guy's promotion again. And you will not be able to get work. So these guys, even if they're capable, and that's why I couldn't be a journeyman, right? Because I can't imagine being in a ring with someone and knowing I could beat you, but I'm choosing not to.
It's very sad, isn't it, Osh?
It's crazy. But what I'm saying is, anyway, long story short, he loses the fight. Yeah? And he gets more money, and he gets on other shows, and great.
Moves forward.
Yeah, move forward.
There's quite a dark underworld, and know what a lot of people don't see when it comes to the boxing in terms of stuff like that. A lot of shit like that going on. And for yourself selling tickets, like, you know, you'll know yourself, people saying, oh yeah, I'll come.
It's mad, mate.
Yeah, drop them tickets off to us and that, blah, blah, blah. Promoters probably on the phone saying, how many tickets have you done? I've done 60 so far or whatever. 20 of them are coming fucking back to you. They say, oh, I can't make it. The fucking, me cat's goldfish is getting married that weekend. Or sure, the best of luck,
There's always something, mate. There's always, I'll be watching, or do you know what I mean? And you know what? I get it. People don't want to, especially like I say, I was in Wales, and you'd have to travel to Manchester. You'd have to stay overnight, book a hotel. You know, you're paying whatever you're paying for the ticket. You're bringing your bird. You haven't got a babysitter. Like, I get it. Do you know what I mean? I do. And, you know, I get why people wouldn't come. And I get why there's 1,000 excuses in the world as to why they wouldn't go. I do understand it. And that's another thing about living in an area where I suppose, in terms of boxing, it's not a huge, massive boxing area. Whereas if you're in Liverpool, say you're a Liverpool fighter, and then you're all from Liverpool, it's a fighting city, and you go, oh, I've got a fight, where is it? The Echo. Oh, you mean 5 yards down the road? I'll be there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And go out in Liverpool after, because I live in Liverpool, and do you know what I mean? It's just, again, other things that you don't see, travelling for sparring, it's all expense, and it's tough, because you are trying to sell the tickets. And like I say, and one of the decisions, you know, I had my second pro fight, I fought at the Bolton Reebok, I'll jump to that. And one of the decisions, with my ex at the time, I'd be spending, I was trying to save money, and I would spend my savings on the fight, buy my own tickets, just so I could fight. So I would actually fight and be out of pocket. And you know what? That's not Kieran's fault. That's not my manager's fault. That's not my promotion's fault. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Because I've always been, like I said to you earlier, I was an introvert. I lived in Manchester. I distanced myself from anyone. So why the fuck are they going to want to come to my fight? Do you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying about the business. So you could be Floyd Mayweather. It don't matter if you can't sell tickets.
Yeah.
No one's interested. Yeah. You've got to be, you know, you've got to be a hype job. You've got to talk.
Yeah, if you've come off the back of the fucking Olympics or something like that, and you're rolling straight into fucking Eddie Hearn, big matchroom signature, you know, then fair enough, straight away, you're not asked about selling tickets, because you're higher up on the bill, and the asses are going on seats regardless. You're not the one who's putting them there. They're going to follow you for who you are anyway, regardless. You know, I mean, you can, you know, like, there's loads of fighters like that, but
these top kids don't even, like, they don't have to push tickets.
No, they're not selling tickets, and if people are wanting to buy tickets off them personally, they're not even fucking dropping them off themselves. It's phone blah blah, and they'll sort it out for you. I'm concentrating on my training.
That's it. And I weren't cheeky enough, like, I hate flogging my ass on Facebook and fucking Instagram trying to sell tickets. Now it's gut wrenching, mate. It's horrible. Like, I don't like to beg people and say, "Oh, will you come to me fight? Oh, will you come to me fight?" Like, and I hated it.
Yeah,
I hated it. It was horrible. And
you just put it to them softly and say, "Look, there's I'm boxing there, blah blah blah. If you want to come," and I guarantee you, every single person you tell at first, they'll go, "Yeah, I'll come."
That's it.
I'll come, but the ones who actually will come is another story, and that's where it gets tough. But like, I'm so happy the way you've been transparent about it, the way you've said, like,
I have to be, because I was naive, so I'm turning pro thinking, here we go, happy days, you know, time for the money to roll in. It doesn't work like that, and maybe what would have happened if I had stuck at it? I probably would have lost more money. Would I have eventually made some money? But like I said earlier, I was realistic, and then I knew in my head the best I could do is a last minute call to a British title, maybe. But I thought, realistically, I could probably win a Welsh title. What's a Welsh title worth? I don't know, $2,000? Do you know what I mean? Am I going to stick it out for that long to win a Welsh title? No.
It becomes different as well when you're getting later on in your life, in terms of, like, if you're younger, you've got less responsibility, you've got more time to drive with something where, like, it's not, as we said earlier on, it's not always about the financial game. Sometimes it's about having that goal and wanting it. So yeah, I want to win a Welsh title, and I don't give a fuck what money's involved. But then there comes the reality side of things. Well, what are you fucking living on? How are you putting all the time and effort into getting yourself prepared to go and win that? And what road are you going to go down to win it whilst you're trying to live in the fucking real world at the same time?
And that's it. And it's only recently when I moved to Max Gym to work with Ryan that I actually started enjoying boxing again. So I went through a long time. I probably went through a transition during the lockdown and stuff of about 2.5 years where I was extremely bitter towards boxing and I didn't like boxing and I fell out of love with it and I wasn't enjoying it no more. And I thought when you're not enjoying it, that's when you stop. Yeah.
Boxing's a real roller coaster in it, because for like a lot of lads I know and speak to or whatever, anyone around the sport, there's very few who it's a straight path where they love the sport from the start till the end. Yeah. It's like there'll be times where you fall out of love with that sport.
Definitely.
You're like, fuck this, can't be arsed with it no more. It's doing me head in. Your heart doesn't beat the same when you go in the gym. You just don't want to do it the same.
It doesn't. You don't go through those phases. But what I found and the reason I love boxing, I think, is because I think no matter what's going on in my life, whether I've been unemployed, in a shit job, whether I've been involved in a bad relationship or my family life isn't going good or I feel lonely, boxing's always been there. No matter what, whether my life's been good, shit, whatever, but nothing lasts in life.
I've got a mate and he says to me, "Hey Jack, boxing's like a fucking bad ex, innit? You just keep going back to it."
It is, mate. It is, and it's addictive. And what it is, I'll always be involved in it in some capacity.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood, and I'm involved in it. I'll always love it. But I think, from my perspective, and I said this earlier to you before we started, and we spoke briefly about when I was pro, I had 2 jobs. It's so difficult.
What was you doing?
So I was working as an estate agent, and I was doing voluntary work at an autistic home. So I was doing that as well in my spare time. So I would get up in the morning, I would train, go for a run. On my lunch break, there was a gym across the road. So I'd go there and have a 45-minute run or weights or whatever, and I would train after work. That was 5 days a week. And on the 6th day, I would just spar. And on a Sunday, even on a rest day, I'd go for a little run. I was just hooked, man. But
commitment.
That's it. But what I'm saying is, boxing is really easy. It's life and all the other bullshit that's hard. Boxing's easy. It really is easy. If you love it and you have a passion for it, it's the easiest thing in the world. But then you've got your bird, you might have kids, you've got a job, you've got your social life, you've got this, you've got that. I was fortunate because that's it. Food, man, food. But I turned down so many nights out. Eventually people would be like, "Nah, I'm not asking Osh because he won't come out."
Yeah.
So I didn't have that temptation after a bit because I was so dedicated and fixated.
Or if there's a certain night that you have got to go out because you can't get out of that night, you've got to fucking go. Yeah. You think you're dreading that night.
I can't drink, I can't eat, I've got to be wary. Do you know what I mean? I can't do this, I can't do that. Yeah, it's just constant restrictions. And all in all, after my second fight, when I was thinking about the money I was losing, my life, where I was, and the fact I wasn't enjoying it, it all weighed up for me. And then the lockdown that literally started. Yeah, literally started, and it was just like. That's it for me.
So then, from there, did you retire from professional boxing?
Yeah, so at that point, I said enough's enough. I spoke to Kieran, he was really supportive of me, and all I'd done, mate, honestly, all I'd done was eat and smoked weed for about a year. Honestly, mate, that's all I did, right? Went back up to balloon, like I'd say, I always balloon. I put on weight, and for about a year, it must have been about a year, I didn't go near boxing. I was still bitter with the sport, yeah. I was bitter with the sport, and I was working with Mike at the time at another job. I just started working with Mike at the boxing gym. And in my head, all I was thinking was, you know what, I was an ex-pro. People want to come to me and get trained by me, and, I'll do what I need to do, and I'll make an extra few quid. Because, like I said, I retired from boxing, and I thought, I'll be a millionaire. I didn't have a pot to piss in, mate. I didn't have a pot to piss in. I had nothing. And then I thought, right, I have to start my life all over again.
Do you think that'd be the start of the financial path, though, because you've followed the dream, you've chased the dream, and also whenever the time does come, Osh, where you are financially abundant, you are at that level in your life where you'd be able to say, I followed my dream.
Definitely.
I chased what I was trying to do, and you accomplished it to a certain degree because, alright, yeah, you never went on to win a fucking title, but you turned professional, and that was what you wanted to do.
That was the dream.
That was the dream.
It was mission accomplished. It was for me.
So, and it's like Tony Chandler, very, very good boxing coach. Like, I remember I was talking to him, and he said, like, define success. Like, different people have a different idea of levels of success. Some people might just want to walk out there and have that one pro debut, and that's it, done.
That's it.
Some people want to go and win a British. Some people want to go and win a European. Some want to go and win a world title.
Yeah.
And it all depends on what your idea of success is and what your level of accomplishing your goals is. You've done yours, so it's like the way you said at the start. Not your family aren't always good for you in terms of the advice they give to you.
Yeah.
If you would have went and just, I don't know, been a fucking spark or whatever it was, you stayed at uni and done what you were doing, it would have always been in the back of your mind, what if?
Yeah.
And there's no worse feeling than living with regret.
And that was what I was always scared of, regretting. And that was why I'd done and made the decisions that I made.
Well done, man.
It's weird speaking about it. That was the first time hearing you then. I felt a bit emotional about it.
Yeah.
A bit emotional about it because I'd done what I wanted to do, and all I ever was so petrified of was regretting. And I'll never regret nothing. I don't regret. I've made good decisions. I've made bad decisions. Like I have, but I don't regret one thing. You know, one thing in my life. I don't regret it. And
never change, man.
Nah, I wouldn't change nothing because that's why we're sat here now. And that's why I hear my around. And I've, you know, there's things that aren't perfect with me. There's things that I probably still need to change. And I'm always learning. Like I said to you earlier, I'm different at 31 than I was at 30. I'm still learning every day. But I started working in the gym, and this fella come up to me and said, "Will you pad me son? Take me son on the pads." I didn't want to, mate. I didn't want to. I was like, fucking hell. Like, I'm done with this. I'm not really interested.
What gym were you working in?
That was at Gym 13 with Mike, who my friend I was telling you about earlier. Yeah. And I was there for a year. But I was there, and he asked me to pad himself. Go on then. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to, and I padded him. And it was like, as soon as I took him on the pads, I fell in love with it again.
You loved it.
I loved it again. Straight away. I was hooked. I was back. I was on it. And I was like, right, I still love this, man. How can I walk away from this? How can I not do this no more? Because this is me. This is what I was made to do. Do you know what I mean?
It's in your blood, as I said to you. Once you're around boxing, you'll always be around boxing, like in some way, shape or form, in some capacity. Whether that be just watching the boxing, or whether that be being a coach, or you know, going to local shows, or being a fighter yourself, or even just going to the gym and hitting the fucking bag.
Well, that's it, man. And like I said, in terms of the boxing, in terms of being back at it, like, I've also got a passion for people, so I started getting PT clients, people started coming, and like, I've met such good friends, like, off the back of it, and people that I'm close to now, and just socialising with them. Like, PT is like therapy, man. It's cheap therapy. People come in and they just talk to you. People just want to talk, and you know, it's barbershop gossip, mate. It's worse than a barbershop, I tell you. But honestly, but I enjoy what I do. I'm very fortunate that I do something. This is where I always wanted to be, where my Monday is my Friday, where I get up in the morning, I get to, especially now I'm with Ryan at Max Gym, and I'm happy, man.
Where's Max Gym?
It's in Old Colwyn. Yeah. I wasn't, like, towards the back end of last year, I weren't in a good place. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't happy, and it was only January time, which I think I turned a little bit of a corner. Like, I come out of another relationship last year, and I was in a really bad place, and I think that transition and making a different move and a fresh start somewhere else, and being around someone who's as positive as Ryan has helped me. Yeah. It's helped me a lot, and it's made me even more passionate about what I do. It really has.
Shout out to Max Gym, man.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah. So what's it like in Max Gym?
Good, mate. So as it happened, I weren't planning on, because I was really, I still am friends with Mike, and we was very close, and as it happened, a couple of times I was thinking of leaving. I just felt like it was the right time for me personally. And like I said, this is something I've touched on as well. I will always do what's right for me. That's something I've learned in life, because when I was in that toxic relationship, I was doing what was right by other people. I was desperately unhappy, man. And the happiest you'll be in your life is if you are selfish and you do what you want to do and you do what's best to you. And I've always said, like, whether it comes to work, relationships, whatever, I will fall out with everybody if it's the right thing for me to do. Yeah. I'm not scared to lose people. I'm not scared to have people in my life. It doesn't bother me. Do you know what I mean? But in the end, I made that transition. I moved to Ryan's gym, and it's good, man. It's good. The energy's good. The buzz is good. The people's good. And like I say, Mike at Gym 13, they were all top people as well. They were all good people.
What was Mike like when you were moving to Ryan's gym? Was he
cool? Mike always wants the best for me.
That's nice.
Mike always wants the best for me, and I owe him a lot for my boxing. So I owe him a lot, and like I say, Ryan and his partner Misha, they welcomed me to the gym with open arms again. So I've been blessed, you know. I've been involved in 2 gyms. I've been well looked after wherever I've gone.
So currently now, you're in Mac's gym with Ryan. Your PT in there. Yeah, so I PT there and I help with the classes. Like I say, I've got 2 jobs, so I'm a busy boy. Do you know what I mean? I'm always doing something. If I'm not in work, I'm in the gym. If I'm not in gym, I'm in the work. When you're not PTing, you're working with children with autism. Yeah, so I do that. Yeah. How the fuck did that come to be, Osh? Like random, mate. Random. So obviously I was an estate agent for 10 years, and then I got to the end of that, and I was like, this ain't for me no more. Like, I've done it for 10 years. I worked for my dad. Bless him, he gave me a job because no one else would. Do you know what I mean? So I worked with him for, you know. I worked in a company in Manchester. So I worked for my dad, worked for a company in Manchester, and come back and worked for my dad. So all in all, I was a estate agent for over a decade, and I was good at it. You know, I was a good salesman, and I was there for a long time, and eventually I just wanted to do something completely different, you know. And this opportunity came up. A friend of a friend told me about the job, and I was like, I'll never get that job. Do you know what I mean? I'll never get that job. And obviously, I had to declare that I had a conviction and stuff like that. And to be fair to them, you know, they give me an opportunity. They saw the best in me, and they give me a chance. And I do enjoy what I do. How old are the kids who you work with? It's a mix, you know. It's from like, I don't know, they can be as young as, 16, 17, up to about 23, 24. So they're not kids, they're like they're not kids, young adults. Yeah, young adults, yeah. In terms of autism, there's different levels, isn't there? There's like severely and then mildly autistic. Yeah. What end of the spectrum are these people? So it's a mix. It is a mix. And about autism, it's something I'm really actually quite passionate about. I don't think I realised until I started working there how broad autism was. You know, you think, oh, that person's got autism, that person's got autism. It's exactly the same. Nah, it's chalk and cheese. Do you know what I mean? It's 2 massive ends of the spectrum. You could have someone who doesn't want to make eye contact to someone who is, you know, completely incapable of looking after themselves. Do you know what I mean? And it's a rewarding job. It can be very sad at times. It can be difficult at times, but it's something that I'm passionate about and something I enjoy. You know, the way earlier on we touched on, like, teachers don't teach you the right thing at school, you know, about being happy and stuff like that. Yeah. Not so long ago, stuff like autism and weren't sort of recognised. It wasn't dyslexia, shit like that. Yeah. It was just like, that kid's smart, that kid's dumb, that kid's fucking naughty, he's strange, he's weird, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Where now, it's like, to be honest, the world's full of fucking snowflakes now, like, it is. In a lot of ways, and, you know, fucking health and safety, all these different things. A lot of it I don't agree with, but that type of thing, I think we've moved on in a good way, in the right way. Definitely. Do you know what I mean? And it's being recognised, it's being noticed, and these people are being fucking helped, and so they should be. That's it. And there's men like you out there fucking making the change. Trying. But yeah, like I say, I'm very lucky that I get to work, like, you know, I work with Ryan at the gym. I do my job working with kids. So I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? And we talked earlier about success and how we determine success or how we rate success. And for me, like, nothing ever lasts. So you can be going for a really shit time and you can be going for a really good time, and nothing ever lasts. So I think that's why I appreciate things more. And for me, so going from that bad phase back end of last year to be getting up now and being happy, that's success. To feeling happy is successful. Do you know what I mean? For me, that is a good day. Like, when you get up in the morning, you see the sun outside. I'm like that even on a dark day now. I never used to be like that. Do you live in the moment, Osh? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. I would say I live in the moment, yeah. I live for the future a lot. Like, no matter what level, how successful I'm being at the time or whatever, I'm always thinking about the next step. Tomorrow, where am I going? What am I doing next?
That's it.
How can I build on this? But I need to start trying to practice, and I've become aware, like, only very, very recently, about trying to just appreciate the moment.
Definitely.
Like, well, look what you've got around you now. It's great, to still work. You're always gonna have goals, but for a long time, a long period in my life, I haven't soaked anything up because it's just like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next.
Definitely.
I think that's where a lot of, not sadness, but you don't absorb the happiness because you're searching for what's next.
That's it, and we're well guilty of that. And like, I keep talking about. I was talking to Ryan about this the other day, and he's had a mad life. If you ever want to he's turning pro with Alex Matvienko.
Get him on me.
I'll try and get him on. I tried to convince him the other day, so I'll try and convince him. But
Ryan, you're watching this, lad. I'm coming for you.
but yeah, in terms of like, we don't enjoy the process, do we? We don't enjoy the process. We're jumping. We get to the top of the mountain, and then we start walking down. And, we get to what we want to do, and then we don't look back and go, hang on a second, like, give myself a pat on the back there. I done okay there. I done well. Right, okay. Like, when I had my first pro fight, smashed it, done well. I was on the Sunday, had the Monday off, back in the gym Tuesday, ready for the second fight. And why didn't I take a step back and go, you know what? Wow, I loved every second of that.
It's like when you're on holiday, mate. It's something that hit me lately, like, you do enjoy it.
Yeah.
When you're there, you are enjoying it. You're in the moment, you're enjoying it. But it's only when it's over, you come home, you sit back, you look back and go, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
It's always at the end, it's always after it, you look back, and you realise how good it was, and it's just about enjoying the moments and trying to be in the moment. But it's hard to be present, because we're all guilty of it. We don't take them all. Sometimes you'll sit down and go, whoa, look at that, as you said, look at the sunrise or the sunset, or you might see one of your kids playing, and you take it in for a moment. But a lot of the time, we're constantly just driving on to the next thing. What's next? Yeah.
But I think it was Tyson Fury that said it, actually. And it really hit home with me. He said something on the lines of, when we're gone, and we will be gone, all we'll ever own is moments in time. And that's so true, man.
Seen that. It's not about money, it's not about anything.
That's it. Like, for your boys, in their head now, like, when you're a kid and you remember certain things, you don't even know why you remember it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll remember certain things that you've done. And, like, I always say this to people, like, you could have all the money in the world, and you could take your kids to everywhere. You could go do a world tour, right? But they'll remember a little act of kindness that you've done in your house. Like, I don't know whether whatever you've done, it could be something so you think it's completely like meaningless or trivial. Yeah, that's it. But I think it's so true. Like, the only thing we'll ever own is moments in time, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That's all we've got. Time.
Tyson Fury's a fucking don.
Yeah, man.
He is.
Yeah, he is. Prime example.
And he's just grown and grown on me. When I first seen Tyson Fury and he first come on the scene, I didn't like him. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't dig him. I couldn't feel him. And now I've got massive respect for him, and I love Tyson Fury.
A lot of that comes down to the media, though, doesn't it?
Mm.
Like, at first, the media is telling us he's bad. Now he's the best thing since sliced bread. And as human beings, we do. Like, I don't read the paper no more. I don't watch telly no more. Like, I don't.
I try not to. But as well, social media is like, it's a double-edged sword, because I do like social media, and I do go on there, and it's trying to be selective with what you like. Obviously, I love Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Rogan's a fucking absolute geezer.
Yeah.
But, like, there's certain shit you can follow and it can be bad for you, and there's certain shit you can follow and be good for you. But now what's happening is we're getting more choice.
Yeah, we are.
And choice can be a very bad thing in one sense.
Yeah.
Because the more choice we're getting, the more we've got first world problems, the more difficult life becomes.
That.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But on another scale, it's very, very good to have choice, because we can be selective with what we're taking in.
Yeah, that's true.
And I used to be quite blind to mainstream media and stuff, you watch it, you believe it, you think it's fucking real, but it's only now people are becoming more, don't want this to sound cheesy, more woke, as you could say, more
people are thinking more about
alert
things.
And more aware is the right word I'm looking for.
Well, you know, back in our mum and dad era, what was it, you know, you had BBC and the paper, do you know what I mean?
When you were a kid, do you remember like 1, 2, 3 and 4?
That's it,
no Channel 5, bruv.
We're old, aren't we? We're old, mate. But that's all you had. And I think it's a good thing that people are taking different perspectives. Like when all that COVID stuff was going on, like big time. Oh, it's vanished now, isn't it? But do you know what I mean? But when it was all going on, I deleted Facebook, mate. I only kept Instagram for my business.
Yeah.
If it weren't for my business, I wouldn't even have Instagram. Like social media is not a big issue for me.
I love people, Losh, yeah. And I'm not saying it's all people, but some people see them on social media and it's just like, it's cringeworthy.
Yeah, mate.
Like you see them in reality and they're portraying themselves to be someone completely different on social media. Yeah. And I do like social media, but it's as we were saying before, a lot of things have become fads and fashionable. Yeah. I've read books for a long time, a good few years. When I was a kid, I fucking weren't asked about reading, didn't care about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't give a fuck. And even when I left school for a certain period of time, but then years ago, I'd say maybe like, must be going back 5 or 6 years ago now, I started getting into the sound of reading, trying to educate myself, like with self-development, improvement, shit like that, people who are business-minded, all different walks of life.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm still trying to read all the time and educate myself all the time, and I'm still trying to better myself and trying to surround myself with people. And you can see certain people are genuine, like they are really trying to push on. But there's some people who are just like, you see them chatting shit on social media, you see them chatting shit in real life about, oh, do this, do that. You know, as I said, like cold water therapy, it's become a fashion. Grounding, yoga, fucking manifesting,
yeah, everything, mate.
Yeah, and all these people want to do better, and it's a really good thing. But some people don't. They're just going with the crowd, and it's crazy the way the world's changing and time's changing. Because in like the late 90s, people just wanted to go out and get off the bonnets, and if you were doing something like this now, they'd be looking at you going, "What the fuck? You're mad." You're reading, you know, people are trying to better themselves, and it is a good thing. But going back to what I was saying, because I've diverted a little bit, social media can be brilliant, but it can be bad.
It can be toxic, mate. It can be toxic, and there are a lot of toxic people out there. There's really
comparisons as well.
There is.
You start comparing yourself to other people, or some people start. I don't really, to be honest with you, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't compare myself to other people on there. But I hear a lot of people do compare themselves to other people, like, because I sort of see through it. Like, I do see someone ripped up to fuck with a six-pack, or someone just got a new car, or whatever they're doing, but it's happening every day, and everyone's at it, you know, and good on you, it's great, but I couldn't go, oh, and now I've got a bit of a belly, and he's ripped to fuck. Well, good on him, son, cool, crack on.
Do you know what? And that's the best way to be. And interestingly enough, we were talking earlier about how you feel and how things make you feel, how people make you feel, and there was so many, like, I've done it. We've all done it, like slagged someone off. You never feel good when you're slagging someone off, though, do you?
No.
Have you ever noticed that? You never feel good, right? And it was only, like, I touched on it earlier. Like, if I don't like someone, if they're really successful, I will clap my hands, go, fair dues, go on, lad. Yeah. Like, I'm never jealous. I've never been a jealous person, and I've always wanted the best for people. And I find every person I've met who is truly successful, they're exactly the same. They don't want people to fail. They want other people to succeed, because it's insecurity, yeah? Right, that person's doing better than me, or I want that person to lose or do this. Or like, I know people used to watch me fight and hope I lost.
I've never got it. I've never ever understood
strange,
it. It's
mate.
crazy.
Strange existence to have.
Some people do want to follow you to see you lose.
Yeah,
There'll
definitely.
be people who are fucking watching this right now who want to see you lose.
Yeah,
There'll be people who want to see me lose, lad. But that doesn't matter. It's like, I always say to me missus, I say, see if the neighbour over the road got a fucking Ferrari tomorrow, does it impact my life? No. Does it impact yours? No.
Exactly.
So be happy for them. But you see people like, oh, they're jealous because they've got that, or they do. It doesn't fucking matter what anything do. Osh, if you're a millionaire tomorrow, mate, it doesn't change my life in any way, shape or form. So why would it be fucking, why would it be hating on it?
It's living life day by day, being a bit better than you was yesterday, and, you know, again, judging success and rating success. It's being a better human being, isn't it? And knowing you're being a better human being. Peace of mind, you can't put a price on that.
touching on being a good human being, there's one thing I do want to say before we do digress and before we go. You had a friend who got stage 4 cancer.
Yeah. That was Mike, funnily enough, who we discussed earlier. So Mike was a world champion Thai boxer. Another guest for you, mate. Another good one for you. Yeah, he was, and
definitely.
He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Yeah, and he's thankfully on the mend now. He's on the mend. He's fought it, and he's proving what a fighter he is in and outside the ring, hasn't he? Yeah, he's done well. You know, I always said this with him when we discussed it and when he had it. Not many people could have dealt with that, and the way he dealt with it at the time and seeing what he'd done was inspiring for a lot of people. So what I wanted to do was do whatever I could and try and raise a few quid, and I did a half marathon every day for a month. So I did. Do you know what's mad? Do you know what's mad? At that time, I was living at my mum's. I'd had a breakdown of a relationship, and fucking, it's like a nightmare, don't I? It's like, mate, I'm hard work, mate. It takes a special bird to put up with me. I'm telling you, mate, I'm hard work. But anyway, I was back at my mum's again, and I was running every day, and I was drinking a lot of the time, you know. I've never been a drinker, and I was drinking every single night, you know.
And you were still running the next day?
It's weird, right, because I have got a switch, yeah. I'm all or nothing. So I knew I had to do it for him and for myself, and obviously I was raising money, and people was donating money, so I had to do it. I couldn't let no one down. If it was just me doing it, I probably would have fucked it off. Oh, nah, I'm staying in bed and rough again. But obviously I was flat, like I like a whiskey here and there, but like I was drinking like close to a bottle of whiskey most nights, mate. Honestly. And then I would go and do my run in the morning, and then I'd go to work. Like I was just, and then go home, you know, repeat, and it was eating shit. Like rough. I've always been a good runner. Must be the Somalian in me, mate. I've always been a good runner, right? I was always a good runner, and I did that for like and looking back, I think I don't know how I done it really. I don't know how I done it looking back, but
well done.
Anyway, a few quid, and
well done,
the least I could do.
It's something really nice to do. Yeah.
Do you know what? He'd do it for me, and I've got friends that would do it for me, and I've got people around me that would do it for me. So, yeah, big up to him. So,
well done. Yeah, no, it's been great to have you on us.
Yeah, it's been buzzing to be, you know.
It's been a massive
lot off my chest.
Yeah, no,
cheap therapy.
And you know what? You've been brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that, man. So nice one.
No, nice one, brother. Nice one. Nice one.
No, thanks for coming on.
Nice one for having me.
And Osh, you've shook the mic.
I shook the mic, that's it, mate.
Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. If you can, give us a little like on social media or a follow. And if you've enjoyed it or you've took anything from the podcast, give us a share. We've got a YouTube channel. And before we go, is there anything you'd like to say, Osh, before we go? Would you like to do any shout-outs, maybe to Max Jim? Maybe
just shout-out to Max Jim, shout-out to Ryan, and just shout-out to everyone who's out there who has supported me, which is through good times, bad times, and something I touched on earlier, you know, you see who your friends are during bad times, but you see who your friends are during good times as well. I've got a small circle now, they know they are, and I'm in a good place, man. So, yeah.
Well done. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much. Until next time, guys. Peace out.
I had to do it for him and for myself, and obviously I was raising money and people was donating money, so I had to do it. I couldn't let no one down. If it was just me doing it, I probably would have fucked it off. Oh, nah, I'm staying in bed and rough again. But obviously I was flat, like I like a whiskey here and there, but like I was drinking like close to a bottle of whiskey most nights, mate. Honestly. And then I would go and do my run in the morning, and then I'd go to work. Like I was just, and then go home, you know, repeat, and it was eating shit. Like rough. I've always been a good runner. Must be the Somalian in me, mate. I've always been a good runner, right? I was always a good runner, and I did that for like and looking back, I think I don't know how I done it really. I don't know how I done it looking back, but
well done.
Anyway, a few quid, and
well done.
The least I could do.
It's something really nice to do. Yeah.
Do you know what? He'd do it for me, and I've got friends that would do it for me, and I've got people around me that would do it for me. So, yeah, big up to him. So,
well done. Yeah, no, it's been great to have you on us.
Yeah, it's been buzzing to be, you know.
It's been a massive
lot off my chest.
Yeah, no,
cheap therapy.
And you know what? You've been brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that, man. So nice one.
No, nice one, brother. Nice one. Nice one.
No, thanks for coming on.
Nice one for having me.
And Osh, you've shook the mic.
I shook the mic. That's it, mate.
Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. If you can, give us a little like on social media or a follow. And if you've enjoyed it or you've took anything from the podcast, give us a share. We've got a YouTube channel. And before we go, is there anything you'd like to say, Osh, before we go? Would you like to do any shout-outs, maybe to Max Jim? Maybe
just shout out to Max Jim, shout out to Ryan, and just shout out to everyone who's out there, has supported me, which is through good times, bad times, and something I touched on earlier, you see who your friends are during bad times, but you see who your friends are during good times as well. I've got a small circle now, they know who they are, and I'm in a good place, man.
Well done. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much. Until next time, guys. Peace out.